Jiang Qianxia's inner voice sounded again. Let me guess, who said it this time? Mingcha, this isn't your fault again. Jiang Wu certainly wouldn't say it, so it must be. Jiang Qianxia's gaze was as sharp as a knife, coldly fixed on Jiang Mother. Jiang Mother was startled, her expression shifted slightly, and she thought guiltily, how could she have said something like that? Just as she wanted to explain but couldn't find the words, a slightly displeased voice came from behind. Mingcha, this isn't your fault. Why are you explaining for her? Jiang Mingjun, who had just taken off his white coat and was about to hand it to the servant, frowned tightly and walked over to Jiang Qianxia. Jiang Qianxia hadn't expected to be interrupted by him. She shrugged and turned back to meet Jiang Erjungxiu's cold and sharp gaze. What bad luck. Jiang Mingjun paused in his movements, his sharp gaze locking onto Jiang Qianxia, momentarily stunned. Was he so exhausted from today's surgery that he was seeing things? It seemed like Jiang Qianxia hadn't spoken. As the youngest chief surgeon in the city, Jiang Mingjun not only possesses precise skills but also a meticulous mind. A trace of doubt arose in his heart. He instinctively looked at the others and found that they all appeared puzzled, without any anger. Unable to resist, he rubbed his brow and turned to Jiang Mingcha. Mingcha, you don't need to defend her. On the way here, he had already learned that Jiang Qianxia was throwing a tantrum because Mingcha hadn't informed her and had decided not to attend the family banquet. But he didn't think Mingcha was at fault. On the contrary, Jiang Qianxia, who was indifferent to family matters and didn't even know her younger brother had been recommended, had no right to criticize Mingcha. Just as he was about to reason with her, a voice came to his ear again. What bad luck. I thought this was said by Jiang San coming down the stairs, but it turned out to be this unlucky thing. Forget it, I'm too lazy to watch the drama. It's boring. Jiang Qianxia took a rectangular box out of her pocket and casually tossed it to Jiang Mingxi. Congratulations. Jiang Mingjuan's brows furrowed sharply, a mix of anger and mockery flashing across his face. He looked at Jiang Qianxia with an angry smile. What did you say? Upon hearing this, Jiang Qianxia frowned, her gaze shifting to Jiang Mingjun, her face full of confusion. Congratulations, what's the matter? Does this person have a problem with their brain? It can't be that I made Jiang Green Tea's face change, and now he wants to stand up for her. What a loyal dog. Jiang Mingjun felt a wave of unease in his heart. He looked at Jiang Qianxia's tightly closed mouth, and his brow couldn't help but twitch. What is going on? Could it be that he really has brain issues after the surgery? Just as he was feeling puzzled, he heard that voice again. Tisk tsk, clearly a medical elite, yet you don't even realize your own insomnia. You can only treat others, but can't cure yourself. Tisk tsk, bad people get what they deserve. I can't be bothered with you. Let Jiang Mingcha torment you slowly. Serves you right. Coming to the Jiang family was truly worth it. As expected, this whole family is Jiang Mingcha's karmic retribution. Jiang Mingjuan's gaze shifted from cold to questioning. He stared at Jiang Qianxia's face, his heart tightening as he deduced that the voice he heard seemed to be her inner thoughts. Nearby, Jiang's mother snapped out of her shock, her emotions growing increasingly complex. What is this child thinking? She actually believes Mingcha wants to harm the Jiang family? Could this be the reason for her hostility toward Mingcha? Her mood gradually steadied, determined to resolve the conflict between Jiang Qianxia and Jiang Mingcha. So, the problem had always been here. At this moment, Jiang Mingxi accepted Jiang Qianxia's gift, raising an eyebrow. Wasn't it said that she would give him a ghost-repelling charm? What is this strange thing? It looks somewhat familiar. He slowly opened the rectangular box in his hand, his gaze instantly filled with astonishment. Inside was a newly received fountain pen. He gently picked up another pen and softly read out its name. At that moment, Jiang Mingxiu, who was leisurely walking down from upstairs, happened to hear him and sneered. Oh, Jiang Mingxi, you like the gift your brother gave you so much. Why not call me third brother a couple of times? Jiang Mingxiu's voice instantly attracted everyone's attention. Jiang Mingxi stared at the pen in her hand, smiled, and then took out the one Jiang Mingxiu had just given her. Seeing two identical pens, Jiang Mingxiu was stunned. Well, it seems someone and I are on the same wavelength. The next moment, a cold female voice rang out. Unlucky. Jiang Mingxiu's brows furrowed tightly, and his gaze unhesitatingly locked onto Jiang Qianxia. Jiang Qianxia, you. He actually didn't notice that Jiang Qianxia hadn't spoken, but the scene of being threatened earlier was vivid in his mind, and he felt there was nothing inappropriate about her speaking in the Jiang family. He thought Jiang Qianxia seemed a bit crazy, but also felt that directly arguing with her might be a bit bullying, especially since everyone would surely support him. So, he paused halfway through his words. However, the others didn't know that he had heard Jiang Qianxia's inner voice, especially Jiang Mingcha, who looked stunned and stared at Jiang Mingxiu. Third brother, what do you mean? He said Jiang Qianxia and he share a special connection, but he clearly stated before that I am the only twin sister he acknowledges. Thinking of Jiang Mingxiu's change, Jiang Mingcha's expression suddenly darkened. She suddenly had a feeling that she couldn't wait any longer. Clearly, everything was going smoothly. Jiang Qianxia was almost driven out of the Jiang family, yet the attitudes of the Jiang family members began to change. Jiang Er, who was standing nearby, unexpectedly felt a strange sense of relief when he heard the word unlucky, because, this time, it wasn't directed at him. His gaze turned to Jiang Mingxiu, then he discreetly observed Jiang Qianxia. These past few days, he had been busy with the hospital and had no time to deal with the Jiang family matters, but he knew that many changes had occurred in the Jiang family because of Jiang Qianxia. First it was Jiang San, then the eldest brother, and finally the mother and Xiaowu. As for the first two, Jiang Mingjun could understand, because he is the only one in the Jiang family who is clear-headed and willing to admit his malice toward Jiang Qianxia. Mingcha is his remedy. He does not allow anyone to wrong Mingcha, even if it means driving away his so-called biological sister. Thus, Jiang San had a pang of conscience and came to his senses. The eldest brother suddenly intervened, which is understandable. What he couldn't understand was why Mother Jiang had changed. He had thought her thoughts were similar to his own, that for Mingcha, even driving away her own daughter wouldn't matter. But thinking about the the eldest brother, Jiang Er more or less understood. Ginger's mother had a personality like a dandelion in the wind, swaying and uncertain. Perhaps a few words from her eldest brother and the third child made her start to reflect. This is no big deal. She will probably change her attitude again soon. Next up is the fifth child. If he was the hidden cold-blooded freak of the Jiang family, then the fifth child was the openly cold-blooded freak. He had no feelings for anyone, driven solely by curiosity in his mind. So, why would he be curious about Jiang Qianxia? Could it be because of inner thoughts? Did he hear Jiang Qianxia's inner thoughts? Jiang Mingjun looked at his genius younger brother. Despite living together for many years, he still couldn't decipher the true thoughts on his face. How could he have thought that Jiang Mingxi was currently staring thoughtfully at the pen case in his hand? He was wondering why Jiang Qianxia hadn't given him a ghost-repelling talisman. Could a person deceive themselves? Of course not. Then did she change her mind? Why was this? Also, Jiang Qianxia mentioned that Jiang Mingxia had given her a calamity talisman, which piqued his curiosity, so he held the calamity talisman in his palm. He glanced at Jiang Qianxia, hoping she would notice his actions and silently resolve his doubts. Just as Jiang's mother was about to ease the gradually tense atmosphere among the children, everyone except Jiang Mingxia heard the answer Jiang Mingxi longed for in his heart. Holding this calamity talisman shrouded in black mist in your palm, aren't you afraid of immediately being struck by bad luck? Jiang Mingxiu and Jiang Mingjun, who arrived a bit later, looked at Jiang Mingxi's palm in confusion. Mother Jiang was startled in her heart. Although she had already determined that Jiang Qianxia might have some extreme thoughts, she would rather believe it to be true than dismiss it as false. Jiang Mingxi was her most beloved son. Ever since she married Father Jiang, she had never gained the approval of her husband's family due to her humble background. However, Jiang Mingxi's birth earned her a reputation in the family and gradually brought her favorable treatment from the old Madame Jiang. But the safety talisman was given by Ming Cha, so what reason should she use to make Mingxi put it down? While pondering, Jiang Mingxi suddenly slipped and fell heavily, producing a loud bang. Jiang Mingxi's fall left everyone who heard Jiang Qianxia's inner voice utterly stunned. The most shocked of all was Jiang Mingxi himself. He kept incredulously repeating how he had fallen. When he saw that there was nothing on the ground, his pupils slightly contracted. Impossible. He clearly felt something trip him. Something feels off. He lowered his head and looked in confusion at the unidentified white hard object on his fingertip, then turned to look at the marble table corner where his teeth had hit earlier, but the sharp pain in his gums instantly emptied his thoughts. After recovering, he flicked the marble debris into the trash can with his fingers. Just as he was about to breathe a sigh of relief, he suddenly heard, "Ah, what the heck is this disaster talisman? How did the black aura turn into legs to trip people? It's over. Little bro has turned into gap-toothed bro." Jiang Mingxi instinctively froze. What? Gap-toothed? He suddenly reacted, touched his half-broken front tooth, and his expression changed drastically. The others also, due to Jiang Qianxia's inner voice, immediately focused on Jiang Mingxi's teeth, and their expressions changed accordingly. The news of Jiang Mingxi breaking his tooth alarmed Grandma Jiang. Although Jiang Mingxi's face turned ashen for a moment before calming down, Grandma Jiang was still worried. She hurriedly called a doctor for an examination, and the result was that only a tooth repair was needed. She held her most beloved grandson, feeling deeply distressed. Amid the chaos at the scene, Jiang Qianxia noticed the protective talisman Jiang Mingxi had accidentally dropped on the ground. A faint black aura, visible only to her, floated around the small talisman. It was the same black aura, yet it seemed different from the one she had left on the little rascal. Jiang Qianxia couldn't discern the specific difference, only knowing that anyone who came into contact with such a thing would be unlucky. She thought of the spell she had just learned and decided to try it on this talisman. Unexpectedly, as she softly chanted the incantation, the black aura on the talisman let out a sharp, piercing scream. She was so startled that she almost forgot the second half of the incantation. Fortunately, after the scream, the black aura struggled a few times, as if it had been dispersed, and vanished without a trace. After confirming the black aura had disappeared, Jiang Qianxia picked up the talisman and was about to examine it further when Jiang Mingxia's voice suddenly came from behind. "Qianxia, why is the talisman I gave to Mingxi with you?" She seemed too shocked, her voice involuntarily rising as she covered her mouth. But this was enough for the old Madame Jiang to hear. She glanced at Jiang Qianxia with displeasure, originally not intending to pay her any attention. But unexpectedly, Jiang Mingxia softly blamed herself. "But it's fine, the safety talisman wasn't on Mingxi. Otherwise, I would have thought it was my safety talisman that caused Mingxi to fall." Jiang Mingxia's words instantly reminded Grandma Jiang. She had also heard about Xiao Wu's inexplicable fall. Now, hearing Jiang Mingxia's words, she immediately made a connection. Could it be that Jiang Qianxia taking Xiao Wu's safety talisman was the reason Xiao Wu suddenly fell? If that's really the case, it means Xiao Wu was destined to fall, but Mingxia's safety talisman could have prevented it. However, since Jiang Qianxia took it away, Xiao Wu still fell. In this way, the situation becomes serious. In an instant, Grandma Jiang's sharp gaze turned toward Jiang Qianxia. "Jiang Qianxia, is that true? Did you take Xiao Wu's safety amulet?" But this granddaughter, who used to be somewhat afraid of her, unexpectedly looked back calmly and said in a cold tone, "Oh, this talisman of safety fell out of your Xiao Wu's hand when he tripped." After saying this, Jiang Qianxia prepared to hand the talisman to Jiang Mingxi. Here, with this simple action, Jiang Mingxi's expression instantly turned to one of terror. Although he knew there was something wrong with this talisman, he could still calmly observe its effects. But who could have known that just one look would cause his teeth to break? If he had to choose, he would rather break a leg than break a tooth. The genius of the Jiang family broke his tooth at home. If word got out, he would lose all face. The members of the Jiang family standing nearby saw Jiang Qianxia holding a peace talisman with such immense power in her fair, tender palm, and their expressions subtly changed as well. Especially Jiang's mother. She took a deep breath, stepped forward to grab Jiang Qianxia's arm, and explained to Grandma Jiang with a smile, "Mom, this child Qianxia must have seen it fall to the ground and picked it up." As she spoke, Jiang's mother nervously avoided looking at the safety talisman in Jiang Qianxia's palm, fearing that she might accidentally touch it and cause it to fall again. Beside them, Jiang Mingxiu also coughed lightly. "Cough, cough, Grandma, it's like this, I just saw it." As he spoke, he quietly quietly took half a step back. Jiang Mingcha stared incredulously at Jiang's mother and Jiang Mingxiu, her heart full of confusion. Why are they suddenly defending that wretched Jiang Qianxia? Jiang Qianxia also wanted to figure out all of this. What's wrong with these people? She curiously withdrew her hand from Jiang Mother's embrace. Jiang Mother quickly let go, though a faint unease lingered in her heart. However, just as Jiang Qianxia was about to hand the safety charm to Jiang Mingxi, Jiang Mother's heart tightened, and she was about to speak to stop her. Suddenly, a large hand appeared out of nowhere and firmly caught the charm. Everyone was stunned. It was Jiang Mingjun. Jiang Mingjun looked at the astonished expressions of the people around him and couldn't help but laugh inwardly. Everyone could hear Jiang Qianxia's inner voice, and it was precisely because of this voice that they were wary of the talisman, even believing it would bring bad luck. How ridiculous. He didn't believe in such superstition. If Xiaowu can't keep it, then give it to me. Jiang Mingjun's words made Jiang Mingxi's expression change slightly. No way. He personally experienced the power of the safety talisman. It's better to destroy such a thing. Jiang's mother and second uncle Jiang couldn't help but oppose. Grandma Jiang watched the group fighting over a safety talisman, her brows gradually furrowing as she tapped her cane. Enough. Fighting over a safety talisman like this. If word gets out, it will disgrace the Jiang family. Xiao Er, how could you also? She turned her head to look at Jiang Mingjun, full of confusion. Forget about that rascal Jiang Mingxiu being used to causing trouble. But why is the second one also messing around? Jiang Mingjun immediately adjusted his expression, pretending to be refined and polite as he said, Grandma, it's my fault. The peace talisman was in Jiang Qianxia's hand, and Grandma Jiang's gaze shifted to her. You. She had just started speaking when suddenly she heard. Exactly. It's a disaster talisman that brings bad luck to whoever takes it. What's there to fight over? Don't you all already have one? I remember everyone in the Jiang family has one, especially Jiang Mingjun, who fights for it the most. But why is this green tea sending bad luck charms to the Jiang family? I thought she just wanted to drive me away, but even after I left, she still seems to harbor ill intentions toward the Jiang family. Obviously, only if the Jiang family is well, can she be well. Grandma Jiang's eyes flashed with a hint of doubt. She paused slightly, suspiciously scrutinizing Jiang Qianxia's eyes. The old lady was startled, thinking to herself, what's going on here? She secretly took a step back, and just as her thoughts were in turmoil, she heard it again. Hey, this old lady's face looks so strange. How? The word's face caused the old lady's pupils to tremble suddenly. What? She carefully examined her granddaughter, who seemed like a completely different person. From her demeanor to her expression, she had none of her former appearance, instead exuding an air of calmness and profound mystery. In an instant, she recalled stories of some metaphysical masters suddenly gaining enlightenment. Could it be Jiang Qianxia is also the type to suddenly have an epiphany? For a moment, old Madame Jiang was overwhelmed with excitement. Could it be that, apart from Xiao Wu, the genius, another master of the mystic arts was about to emerge in the Jiang family? In an instant, the old lady even considered spending a fortune to find someone to help introduce Jiang Qianxia to the mystic sect. Overcome with joy, she even forgot to take issue with Jiang Qianxia's disrespectful address and her unfinished words. She cleared her throat and said in a tone of authority, all right, let's get ready to eat. As she spoke, she paused for a moment and looked at Jiang Qianxia with rare gentleness. And you, what do you mean by my Xiao Wu? That is your fifth younger brother. You are bound by blood, connected by flesh and bone as close kin. As she spoke, the old Madame Jiang realized she had unconsciously revealed her former sternness again, and her expression softened once more. She condescendingly glanced at Jiang Qianxia, signaling with her eyes for her to follow by her side. Seeing this, Jiang's mother quickly gave Jiang Qianxia a gentle push and whispered, hurry. Although Jiang's mother did not understand why the old lady of the Jiang family suddenly changed her attitude toward Jiang Qianxia. In her heart, only the eldest and second child of the Jiang family had such an honor. Later, when the fifth child revealed a genius side, Grandma Jiang made room for the fifth child by her side, and then it was Mingcha. Now there was another Qianxia. Qianxia was her child, and this was naturally a great thing. Jiang's mother revealed a satisfied smile. Jiang Qianxia completely didn't understand the turn of events. However, when passing by Jiang Er, she still handed him the safety charm she hadn't given him earlier. Jiang Er was stunned. The others froze again for a moment, looking at Jiang Mingjun in terror. Even Madame Jiang was startled. She originally didn't think much of it, but once she regarded Jiang Qianxia as someone who had awakened, her words suddenly gained much more credibility. In other words, this charm really does bring bad luck. Her Mingjun. Madame Jiang almost lost her breath, her gaze filled with reproach as she looked at Jiang Qianxia. Jiang Qianxia, however, was thinking to herself, what a pity. If I had known this biased person was going to take the safety charm, I shouldn't have dispelled the dark energy. Let him fall to his death. What? Everyone except Jiang Mingcha widened their eyes. What she meant was that she could eliminate the bad luck brought by the safety charm? For a moment, everyone except the self-assured Jiang matriarch, who believed she knew the truth, was filled with confusion. Oh, and there was also Jiang Mingjun. His expression turned grim. What do you mean, just let him fall to his death? However, Jiang Qianxia was lost in her own thoughts, unwilling to even glance at him, not even responding to his glare. The group, each with their own thoughts, arrived at the dining table. Father Jiang and the eldest brother of the Jiang family came over after discussing work and saw that Grandma Jiang had actually brought Jiang Qianxia along. Both of them showed a hint of puzzlement. At this moment, a loud cry came from the side garden. This was the last member of the Jiang family. Jiang Xiaolu, Jiang Mingluo, 9 years old this year, was a chubby boy and a typical troublemaker. Hearing Jiang Mingluo's cries, Jiang's mother immediately showed a distressed expression. However, apart from her, several other parents, including the eldest brother of the Jiang family, all displayed displeased looks. In the Jiang family, Jiang's mother had the least say, so she could only feel sorry in her heart. Since no one else spoke up, she didn't dare to comfort Jiang Mingluo until a soft voice sounded, Grandma, let me go check on Xiao Lu. It was Jiang Mingcha. Mother Jiang quickly showed a grateful expression upon hearing this. Unexpectedly, after Grandma Jiang nodded, she turned her gaze to Jiang Qianxia. You should come along too. Xiao Lu is your younger brother as well. Jiang Mingcha's expression subtly changed upon hearing this. Her mind felt like a stampede of galloping horses. What on earth earth is going on? To think, she had spent so long pleasing the old lady just to receive a little bit of favor. So why had the old lady's attitude toward Jiang Qianxia changed so drastically now? Yet Jiang Qianxia, upon hearing this, only showed a strange expression and stood motionless in place. What kind of brother? Xiao Lu, counting Jiang Mingcha. The Jiang family has exactly 6 children, which seemingly doesn't include me. Father Jiang's brows furrowed slightly, instantly realizing Jiang Qianxia's inner thoughts. The expressions of those around them turned heavy, unable to hide their astonished looks. Grandma Jiang froze for a moment, then suddenly recalled something she had casually mentioned years ago. When the child was brought home initially, the other children reacted indifferently. She had met her once and found this biological granddaughter not very likable, so she casually remarked, looking so dark and skinny now, it might be embarrassing. Let's wait until she's well nourished before introducing her publicly. And with that, the matter was left unresolved. To this day, the Jiang family has never publicly mentioned the matter of the 2 daughters, and only close acquaintances know about the mix-up. Madame Jiang felt a faint sense of regret and confusion. In her heart, how could she have forgotten about this? Logically, a granddaughter as charming as hers, even if she had a bad temper in the past, should have some standing in their social circle. 6 whole years. No one in the Jiang family had ever brought up the matter of changing how they addressed her. Everyone was consumed by doubt, feeling a sense of absurdity in their hearts. How is that possible? At this moment, the most indifferent Jiang Qianxia kept reminding them in her heart. Jiang Mingcha was even more puzzled, while Jiang Mingluo cried like a tearful mess. Jiang Qianxia decided not to pay attention. She had already volunteered to face the fiery-tempered little troublemaker. After Jiang Mingcha left, Grandma Jiang quickly restrained her shock, but found it difficult to bring up the matter of changing the form of address. Thus, she turned her gaze to Father Jiang. Father Jiang met Grandma Jiang's eyes, cleared his throat, then quickly looked away, pretending not to notice, and instead turned his attention to Brother Jiang. Brother Jiang. Just as the atmosphere was becoming awkwardly tense, a sharp scream came from the side garden, clearly the voice of a young girl. Everyone immediately turned to look outside, only to see the servants rushing in frantically, shouting, something terrible has happened. Miss Mingcha has been bitten by a snake. What? Everyone was shocked. How could there possibly be a snake in the house, let alone one that bit Jiang Mingcha? Jiang Mingjuan's face darkened as he glared at the servants. What are you doing? With so many people outside, how could you let Mingcha get bitten? Although Mingjun appeared refined on the surface, the servants in the household all knew that among the young masters, he was the most unpredictable, instantly making their faces turn ashen. We really didn't know. Before Miss Mingcha arrived, everyone thought that snake was fake, but as soon as she came, it came to life. The maid trembled as she explained, leaving everyone utterly confused. It wasn't until arriving at the garden that the truth came to light. It turned out that Jiang Mingluo had been crying outside earlier because he insisted that his toy snake had come to life. He had a realistic toy snake that no one usually dared to touch. When it was mealtime, the maid wanted to take him back to the house, but he cried and said his snake was lost, insisting on picking up this living one. The maid wanted to help him, but he cried and fussed desperately. When Jiang Mingcha arrived and heard what had happened, she comforted Jiang Mingluo, that snake is fake, while reaching out to pick it up. Usually, Jiang Mingcha was very good at coaxing Jiang Mingluo, and Jiang Mingluo was stunned, mistakenly thinking he had seen wrong and didn't stop her. As a result, Jiang Mingcha was bitten. Everyone listened to the story and couldn't help but hear a sudden, abrupt voice in their minds. What is this? A child who plays with toy snakes all day. How could they be scared to tears by their own fake snake? Everyone looked at each other, unsure of what to say. At this moment, Jiang Qianxia looked at Jiang Mingcha with a puzzled expression. Why does she have black aura on her? It looks familiar. This seems to be from the talisman of peace. I just dispelled it. So how did it appear on her leg? Did she do it on purpose? Or was it unintentional? No wonder. I was wondering why she wasn't the female lead, yet her aura was so strong. Could it be that all her good fortune was stolen? In an instant, the expressions of the Jiang family members became complicated. The doctor arrived and, seeing their solemn expressions, asked in confusion, who was injured? The crowd was jolted awake by this question and quickly revealed Jiang Mingcha. Her leg was swollen, and no one dared to move her. Fortunately, the real snake that had escaped looked similar to Jiang Mingluo's toy snake, and the toy snake had fallen into the grass where the real snake had just been. The doctor examined the toy snake and almost confirmed it was a mildly venomous snake, causing everyone to breathe a sigh of relief. Suddenly, they heard a familiar voice. Wait, why is the black aura only wrapped around Jiang Mingcha's leg? Xing Miao Miao almost had her leg broken. Was she shielding her from disaster? I saved Xing Miao Miao, so Jiang Mingcha has to find another person to take on the disaster? Did she choose her? Or maybe she sent all the disasters away, not expecting any to remain on herself. This needs to be thoroughly studied. Check if the Jiang family members have anything given by Jiang Mingcha, and it will become clear. But the difference between the two doesn't seem significant. Anyway, it's the Jiang family being tricked, not me. I should leave as soon as possible. Jiang Qianxia's speculation caused everyone's expressions to change drastically. Some wanted to say something but hesitated, and ultimately realized that Jiang Mingcha seemed unable to hear her inner thoughts, so they held back. However, they forgot that Jiang Mingluo was also present. Unlike the adult's silence, Jiang Mingluo stared at Jiang Qianxia in confusion. What are you talking about? Jiang Qianxia stood behind the doctor who was speaking, unaware that Jiang Mingluo was talking to her. Seeing that she ignored him, Jiang Mingluo frowned, about to call out Jiang Qianxia's name, when a large hand suddenly covered his mouth. He turned around and saw it was the second brother of the Jiang family, instantly becoming obedient. Second brother, did you hear that she was the one who started? In the Jiang family, as the youngest child, the parents were helpless against him. He was born when his parents were older, and his grandmother, who wanted to hold a great-grandchild but couldn't, was left with only him as her little grandson, spoiling him to the point of being unruly. The only person he feared was the scheming second brother Jiang. Although he didn't know why second brother was helping Jiang Qianxia this time, he still tried to complain first. However, before he could finish speaking, the second brother shook his head and took him away. The injury on Jiang Mingcha's leg was not highly toxic, but it still needed treatment. Second brother Jiang took Jiang Mingluo away. The others seemed to have matters to discuss as well, leaving Jiang Qianxia behind. Although she felt puzzled, she did not find it strange. After all, in the original owner's memory, this was the familiar scene. Her mindset, however, appeared particularly relaxed. After all, she had no expectations of the Jiang family. She casually took out her phone and happened to see an unexpected message pop up. Work machine, miss you so much. Jiang Qianxia's eyes widened instantly, thinking to herself, what is going on? She hadn't even clicked to check when another message arrived. Work machine, love. Jiang Qianxia? She clicked on it in confusion and saw the other party had sent 2 stickers, prompting her to reply with a question mark. Regarding her visit to the Jiang family, she had already explained it to Sitiyu. After all, he was her boss, and it was only proper to request leave for personal matters. Fortunately, after a while, the other party finally explained. Work machine, it was Xiaoyu just now. Jiang Qianxia, so that's how it is. Thinking of the little one, a smile instantly bloomed on her face. In her original world, technology was far more advanced than it is now, yet familial bonds seemed particularly distant. Words like miss you were truly unfamiliar to her, but now, hearing them felt warm. Jiang Qianxia couldn't help but smile and lowered her head to type. Please tell him for me. I miss him too. Work machine, okay. At the same time, the Jiang family had just avoided Jiang Qianxia and Jiang Mingxia going upstairs, precisely to verify the truth of Jiang Qianxia's inner thoughts. This matter was truly incredible. Originally, everyone planned to observe in secret. However, with a shocking speculation revealed in Jiang Qianxia's inner thoughts, the group began to recall that they had all received peace charms from Jiang Qianxia, and after those charms were distributed, a series of unfortunate events occurred. Although there was no concrete evidence, Father Jiang and Grandma Jiang's expressions had already turned completely grim. Looks like we really raised an ingrate. Although Mother Jiang was the toughest among them, she still found it hard to believe that her past misfortune was actually related to Jiang Mingxia. She stubbornly said, even so, there's no evidence, so this doesn't prove anything. In the past, Jiang Mingxiu and Jiang Mingjun, who were the most protective of Jiang Mingxia, now had their own differing thoughts. Jiang Mingxiu was absent, accompanying Jiang Mingxia to tend to her wounds, while Jiang Mingjun wore a gloomy expression, seemingly lost in thought. As for the eldest brother of the Jiang family, who loved Jiang Mingxia the most, his expression did not show the anger of Jiang's father and grandmother, nor did he defend like Jiang's mother. However, he understood that Jiang's mother had a point. This matter indeed requires evidence. Jiang Minghui's voice was like the morning bell, steady and powerful, instantly calming everyone down. 9-year-old Jiang Mingluo, though mischievous, was exceptionally clever. His eyes darted around before he asked, so does our whole family have superpowers now? Jiang Mingjun held his hand and suddenly let out a cold laugh. Xiao Lu, remember, you can't tell anyone about this, not even your 4th sister. And, his gaze sharpened as he lowered his voice, if this really is a superpower, then it should belong to Jiang Qianxia, not us. These words left everyone stunned. Jiang Minghui was the first to react, his brow slightly furrowed. What do you mean? Jiang Mingjun shrugged, his tone carrying a hint of disdain. Why is it that only our entire family heard Mingxia plotting to harm us? Before hearing her inner thoughts, he suddenly narrowed his eyes, sharply scanning the room, and noticed Jiang Mingxiu was absent. His gaze fell on the eldest brother of the Jiang family. Big brother, why has your attitude toward Jiang Qianxia suddenly changed? Is it because you heard her inner thoughts? The eldest brother of the Jiang family paused slightly, then a complex expression appeared on his face. Before today, I did indeed hear her inner thoughts, but my change of heart wasn't because of that, it was because Mingxiu called me. He recounted the inner thoughts he had heard when he encountered Jiang Qianxia earlier today, one by one. Father Jiang, hearing this, raised an eyebrow. You're saying she knows old Mr. Chen? Jiang Minghui nodded. Yes, today when she was shooting an endorsement at my company, old Mr. Chen took a liking to her at first sight. He recounted in detail how old Mr. Chen had placed that set of rare treasures on Jiang Qianxia. At this moment, the expression in old Madame Jiang's eyes instantly turned sharp. Just as Jiang Mingjun was about to continue suspecting whether Jiang Mingxiu's change was related to Jiang Qianxia's inner thoughts, the old Madame Jiang suddenly interrupted him sternly. Enough, whether this matter is true or false, we will verify it first. Before that, do not alarm any of them. Her gaze swept over the crowd like a blade, finally fixing firmly on Jiang's mother. Especially you. Jiang's mother showed a hint of reluctance but still nodded. Seeing her expression, Grandma Jiang couldn't help but reprimand her in frustration. If you reveal this to Mingxia and she truly harbors ill intentions, think about the Jiang family. Think about what will happen to your other children. Sure enough, Mrs. Jiang was instantly intimidated and firmly promised. Grandma Jiang then looked at Jiang Mingjun with some unease. Although the 3rd son of the Jiang family was the most active in defending Mingxia, Grandma Jiang knew that the 2nd son was the most useless one. However, Jiang Mingjun did not show the unwillingness she had expected. Instead, he calmly nodded his head. After a brief discussion, Father Jiang calmed down a little and suddenly called out to Jiang Minghui. By the way, you 7 siblings, discuss among yourselves and include Qianxia. Jiang Minghui immediately recalled Jiang Qianxia's earlier inner complaints and found it somewhat absurd. Could it be that such a large Jiang family couldn't accommodate one Jiang Qianxia? Seeing Jiang Minghui's silence, Father Jiang's expression also became somewhat unnatural. Sigh, now that you mention it, how could I not have thought of this? After all, Qianxia is also my child. No wonder she, Mother Jiang, while blaming herself and questioning her life, voiced everyone's inner thoughts. Jiang Mingxi sneered coldly from the side. What's the big deal? Why rush to change the title? Once the verification is done, I might only have one 4th sister left. Jiang Mingxi's words plunged everyone into silence once again. Everyone present could hear the deeper meaning in his words. If Jiang Qianxia was wrong, she would still be Jiang Jiang Mingxi's blood-related fourth sister no matter what. Only if Mingcha had truly harmed the Jiang family would he be left with just one fourth sister. Originally, Jiang's mother wanted to say a few words, but upon seeing his missing tooth, she fell silent once more. If it really was Mingcha's deliberate intention, the members of the Jiang family left one after another, but they did not go downstairs together. Jiang's mother was the first to go down and noticed Jiang Qianxia chatting with someone. Looking at this daughter who was both unfamiliar and familiar, showing a smile she had never seen before while facing her phone, Jiang's mother was stunned. She didn't know how to describe her feelings at this moment. When she saw her daughter showing a happy and beautiful smile, an inexplicable unease and panic surged in her heart. This sense of panic compelled her to step forward involuntarily and call out anxiously, "Qianxia." Jiang Qianxia heard the voice, put away her phone and also her smile, then turned calmly to look at Jiang's mother. "Is it time to eat?" Mrs. Jiang froze, and when her daughter looked at her, the smile disappeared. Could it be that she dislikes this mother? Before Mrs. Jiang could say anything, Mr. Jiang and Jiang's elder brother also came downstairs one after another. Mr. Jiang walked up to Jiang Qianxia, handed her a document with a somewhat unnatural expression. Seeing her look puzzled, he cleared his throat and explained, "We didn't call you upstairs earlier because we were preparing something for you." He gestured for Jiang Qianxia to take it. Jiang Qianxia frowned slightly, took the document, and upon opening it, was instantly stunned. It turned out to be the share transfer agreement for a subsidiary of the Jiang family, only missing the signature of the equity recipient for the contract to take effect. Her brows furrowed tightly as she thought to herself, "For me? That's unlikely. Could it be they want to collaborate with the Sidhu family? But asking me wouldn't be of much use. Oh, right, they don't know that Sidhu and I are in a contractual relationship." The faces of the Jiang family members instantly changed dramatically. What? Their exclamations almost lifted the roof. However, Jiang Qianxia didn't notice their reaction, only hearing a gasp from behind her. She turned around and saw Jiang Mingxiu striding over, his face full of excitement. Jiang Mingxiu snatched the document from Jiang Qianxia's hand, his eyes filled with shock. "What are you talking about?" After his initial excitement, Jiang Mingxiu realized something was off. What he had just heard was actually Jiang Qianxia's inner thoughts. He quickly steadied himself, lowered his head to examine the document, and was once again stunned. Equity transfer. Why would you? A sudden flash of inspiration crossed his mind. He looked at Jiang Qianxia in astonishment, realizing that among the Jiang family's children, apart from Jiang Mingcha and Jiang Mingluo, everyone had shares. Jiang Mingluo was still young, and after Jiang Mingcha's background was exposed, Father Jiang and Grandma Jiang disagreed with giving her shares. However, they both turned a blind eye to Mother Jiang dividing her own company shares to Jiang Mingcha. Only, Jiang Qianxia had nothing. In an instant, Jiang Mingxiu felt as if the document in his hand was burning hot. He hurriedly stuffed it back to Jiang Qianxia. However, Jiang Qianxia did not take it. The document fell to the ground with a snap. Behind Jiang Mingxiu, Jiang Mingcha, with her foot wrapped in bandages, smiled faintly and teased, "Third brother, why are you still?" However, the word equity on the paper was like a sudden needle, sharply piercing her eyes. Jiang Mingcha turned over and unexpectedly fainted on the spot. This time, the crowd was no longer as panicked as when she was bitten by a snake earlier. Because of the matter Jiang Qianxia mentioned from her heart, a trace of estrangement had grown in their hearts. Only Jiang's mother was frantic with worry and rushed over. Unfortunately, Jiang Mingcha had already collapsed weakly to the ground. "Mingcha!" Jiang's mother called out anxiously, immediately rushing to her side. Jiang Mingcha's face was deathly pale, clearly overwhelmed by excessive shock. Jiang's mother couldn't help but turn back, wanting to seek help from Jiang's father, but she was stunned by the scene before her. No way. Are all the Jiang family members blind, or are they just acting? Mingcha's fainting is so fake. I feel like my intelligence is being insulted here. Although I think the Jiang family is pretty dumb, they shouldn't be this bad. Maybe this equity document is some kind of trap. It turned out to be a fake gesture of giving a gift, waiting for me to agree, and then having Jiang Mingcha pretend to faint. Truly a case of getting something for nothing. However, it seems this act wasn't rehearsed properly. The Jiang family's eyelids twitched, but they couldn't help following Jiang Qianxia's inner thoughts and looked toward Jiang Mingcha's face. Unexpectedly, what they saw left everyone dumbfounded. The unconscious person's eyelids could still move. Just as everyone was puzzled, Jiang Qianxia made her move, swift and decisive. She stepped forward and, under the bewildered gazes of the crowd, bent down to pick up the equity gift contract. The Jiang family originally thought she had a way to expose Jiang Mingcha's tricks, but they were all disappointed. Unexpectedly, in the next second, a pick-like scream echoed through the Jiang family's living room. "Ah, my hand." For the first time, Jiang Mingcha showed genuine emotion, tears streaming down her face. Jiang Qianxia thought to herself, if this is a case of getting something for nothing, then I need to sign quickly and make them lose everything. Suddenly, she was startled by Jiang Mingcha's scream and realized she had accidentally stepped on something. She awkwardly stepped back 2 paces, then sincerely said to Jiang Mingcha under the shocked gazes of the Jiang family, "Sorry." Today, Jiang Qianxia was wearing thin high heels, and what she had just stepped on was Jiang Mingcha's fingers. The pain blurred her vision with tears, and upon hearing that the person who stepped on her was Jiang Qianxia, the pain intensified. Whimper, whimper. Jiang Mingcha weakly leaned against Jiang mother's embrace. "It hurts. I. Usually, Jiang Mingcha would seize this opportunity to badmouth Jiang Qianxia, but thinking of the equity document she had just seen, she bit her lip, endured the pain, and used her purplish red fingers to tug at Jiang mother's arm, continuing, "Mom, I should leave the Jiang family. I know I'm not worthy. I should have long stopped clinging to this home that doesn't belong to me." Her pitiful appearance instantly evoked a trace of sympathy in the Jiang family members. Even Jiang father felt a bit guilty, although he still insisted that it was impossible to give Jiang Mingcha any shares of the Jiang family. But, aside from the shares, just as he was contemplating how to give Jiang Mingcha some compensation, that abrupt sound rang out again. Hiss, what a ruthless person. Sure enough, if a woman isn't ruthless, her position isn't secure. I have to admire this green tea's clarity. Her hand is almost broken, yet she's still thinking about the family assets. The Jiang family shares are probably impossible for her to get, so it must be Jiang mother's company instead. Jiang Qianxia's heartfelt words shook the hearts of everyone in the Jiang family. Looking at Jiang Mingcha's increasingly swollen fingers, their hearts grew heavier, especially the Jiang family's older brothers. In their impression, this younger sister was the most delicate, someone who would cry even if a single strand of her hair was hurt. But because the Jiang family had the strength to protect her, she had always been pampered. Now, unexpectedly, the eldest brother of the Jiang family couldn't help but recall the last time Jiang Mingcha had injured herself in his office in an attempt to frame him. Jiang Mingcha's hand naturally hurt immensely, so much so that she could barely think. But the last shred of her rationality told her she had to find a way to win the hearts of the Jiang family. So, she began to pitifully dissect her own feelings. I thought I wouldn't be jealous of Qianxia. I've let down everyone's love for me. I am so despicable. I want to be a true member of the Jiang family. I'm afraid mom and dad won't want me, afraid that my brothers, younger brother, and grandma won't like me. However, for some reason, Jiang's mother, who was usually the softest-hearted, simply stared at her blankly at this moment, saying nothing. She didn't know that Mrs. Jiang was sweating profusely. Just as Jiang Qianxia's inner voice mentioned giving Jiang Mingcha shares, Grandma Jiang and Father Jiang both turned to look at her. At that moment, Jiang Qianxia wished she could jump up and explain. She really didn't do it on purpose, but she had thought about it. She really had. When she saw Jiang Mingcha faint from the shock of discovering that the Jiang family planned to give Jiang Qianxia shares, her heart was stirred. She even considered transferring part of her own company's shares to Jiang Mingcha, or even directly giving one away without hesitation. After all, her deep bond with Father Jiang over the years meant she didn't need these things to feel secure. However, Jiang Mingcha's frail health made the matter of being stimulated by shares completely unworthy. Just as her thoughts were in turmoil, Jiang Qianxia's revelation made Jiang's mother start to doubt. Mingcha, she really... While everyone was caught in repeated suspicion, the doctor returned, panting heavily. He walked straight to Jiang Qianxia, his eyes full of concern. Miss Qianxia, where are you injured? Everyone was shocked again upon hearing this, only to see Jiang Qianxia nonchalantly holding up her phone and pointing at Jiang Mingcha on the ground. It's not me, it's her. She fainted from the shock and was accidentally woken up when I stepped on her. Check her injuries. The doctor was stunned. What kind of stimulation caused a coma? And then she was stepped on and woke up. The doctor's bewildered expression, in the eyes of the Jiang family, almost confirmed the fact that Jiang Mingcha was pretending to be unconscious. However, the doctor was also a quick-witted person. Realizing the awkwardness of the situation, he hurriedly cleared his throat, walked over, and helped Jiang Mingcha up to check her wound. Jiang Mingcha almost wanted to spit out a mouthful of old blood. This wasn't the first time she had used the self-harm tactic, and every time it left Jiang Qianxia, that wretched woman, speechless and so jealous she was nearly deformed. This time, if it weren't for the shares and that wretched woman stepping on her so hard, she would have probably kicked her out of the Jiang family long ago. Unexpectedly, she had the audacity to apologize and even directly called a doctor over. Most importantly, the Jiang family didn't seem to react at all. Even Jiang's mother, who had always doted on her, merely told the doctor to take good care of the injury. And the few useless brothers in the Jiang family, didn't any of them think Jiang Qianxia had gone too far? However, the persona she had built in front of the Jiang family was one of understanding, weakness, and helplessness, so she naturally couldn't say it outright. In the end, she could only swallow her anger and reluctantly go for treatment, gaining nothing in return. The emotions of the Jiang family were extremely complex, their gazes wandering between the two girls, unable to say a word. Especially, no one wanted to be targeted by Jiang Qianxia's fiery remarks. Just as Jiang's father took a deep breath, preparing to say something, he noticed that the contract on the table had already been signed. He paused for a moment, then revealed a silent smile. Jiang Qianxia's previous frustration vanished completely, but at this moment, her eyelid suddenly twitched. Sure enough, trying to set me up. Are you furious after seeing me sign? Should I make a run for it first? Father Jiang's serious face instantly lost its smile. This rebellious daughter, what on earth is she thinking? His heart tightened, fearing that she really wanted to slip away. He quickly put on a stern face and said, all right, since the contract is signed, as a shareholder of Jiang Corporation, you must attend a weekly meeting at the company from now on. The reason he gave Jiang Qianxia shares was definitely not because of some awakening of fatherly love, but because of her inner thoughts. The current information is, first, Jiang Qianxia can read faces. Second, Jiang Mingcha harbors ill intentions toward the Jiang family. This instinctively made Father Jiang think of the company, especially now that most of the business is managed by the eldest son, who dotes on Jiang Mingcha. He is worried that Jiang Mingcha might have some schemes in mind. Of course, this is the worst-case scenario. Even if she has no ill intentions, Jiang Qianxia's innate ability to read faces can still expose those with malicious intent, which is extremely valuable. It was observed that Jiang Qianxia seemed somewhat deranged, and persuasion was futile, leaving no choice but to handle it indirectly. Originally thought that presenting the equity document could move her, but unexpectedly, Father Jiang couldn't help but feel a wave of frustration. He tugged at his tie, deliberately letting the talisman from his sleeve drop in front of Jiang Qianxia, cleared his throat, and said, did you remember? Jiang Qianxia's apricot eye showed a trace of astonishment. What the heck? With this little amount of shares, do I really need to attend weekly company meetings? Can't I just take the dividends? Father Jiang, this rebellious daughter. He pulled out a tissue, picked up the talisman, and shook it. Minor shareholders could choose not to attend regular meetings, but for the next month, all shareholders of the Jiang Corporation are required to be present. Do you have any objections? Jiang Qianxia shook her head. However, I might not have time. Father Jiang carefully wiped the safety talisman in front of her, without looking up. It's okay. If you can't make it, you can make up for it later. Jiang Qianxia's mouth twitched. You can still make up for it? Father Jiang remained focused. She finally noticed the item in his hand. Wait, this. Why is it all dark again? Could it be another protective talisman sent by Jiang Mingcha? What's the use of wiping a protective talisman with paper? The black aura can't be wiped off. Father Jiang's hand trembled, almost throwing the talisman away, and his heart gave a fierce jolt. Although he was prepared, he still felt a chill in his heart when the truth was finally revealed. He couldn't help but turn his head, his gaze fixed on Jiang Mingcha, who was being comforted by Jiang's Jiang's mother and crying weakly, his expression darkening. In front of Jiang Mingcha, he put away the peace charm, stared at her face, and quietly waited. He remembered Jiang's mother saying that when Jiang Mingcha was found to have given a disaster charm to Xiao Wu, Jiang Qianxia had wanted to give him an exorcism charm. Now Xiao Wu is no longer needed. Seeing her father personally carrying the calamity talisman, she should have some kind of reaction, right? In the end, Jiang Qianxia only silently stared at him with her innocent and beautiful eyes. Could it be, there's still a conspiracy? Father Jiang's expression grew increasingly grave. Unfilial daughter. He was so furious that he didn't want to spare Jiang Qianxia another glance. Turning around, he coldly said to Jiang's mother, enough, let's eat. Jiang Qianxia was here just to eat for a fee. At the dining table, she remained silent, focusing solely on eating. She silently pondered the taste of the dishes in her heart. Everyone waited silently, wanting to hear something, but only saw her burying her head in her meal. In fact, besides Father Jiang, others also followed his lead and took out the peace talismans Jiang Qianxia had given them, trying to show them to her casually. However, she didn't even look, and no one found an opportunity. The meal was eaten in an unprecedentedly strange atmosphere. After finishing, Jiang Qianxia was about to leave but was unexpectedly stopped by the old Madame Jiang. Seeing the green tea suffer a setback, receiving a valuable share of stocks, and witnessing the misfortunes and impending misfortunes of several members of the Jiang family, Jiang Qianxia was in a good mood. She turned around, but unexpectedly, the old Madame Jiang said, "We're all family. Come home often for meals in the future." Upon hearing this, Jiang's mother quickly nodded and grabbed Jiang Qianxia's hand. Yes, why not stay today and not leave? Jiang Qianxia's expression was cold as she withdrew her hand, showing no emotion toward Jiang's mother, who looked at her eagerly. "I still won't go back. My son is waiting for me." Mother Jiang was stunned for a moment. Xia, what nonsense are you talking about? How could you? Suddenly, she choked up. Jiang Qianxia sighed helplessly, unwilling to bother further, and turned to leave. What kind of biological mother is this? No wonder the protagonist wants to leave this world. Hopefully, she can awaken a powerful talent in my world. Looking at her daughter's indifferent departing figure, Mother Jiang stood motionless in place. It wasn't until Jiang Qianxia's figure completely disappeared that she couldn't help but turn back to look at the equally silent crowd. Father Jiang, seeing the self-reproachful expression on Mother Jiang's face, couldn't help but shake his head. Jiang Mingcha noticed this and hurriedly stepped forward to comfort her, but she didn't expect Father Jiang to suddenly call her name directly. "Mingcha, what's wrong?" Her heart tightened, and her tone carried a hint of unease. Father Jiang thought about the burning hot talisman in his pocket, and his face darkened. "You're injured, so go back and rest. I'll have the driver take you." Jiang Mingcha widened her eyes slightly in disbelief. She had originally planned to stay by Mother Jiang's side tonight to continue complaining. Besides, Grandma Jiang was also here, so she could find another opportunity to play the victim in front of her. Most of the Jiang family's children had houses outside, but this was also her home. What did Father Jiang mean by saying to send her back? Mrs. Jiang also felt that Mr. Jiang's words were somewhat inappropriate. She was about to speak but was silenced by his gaze, leaving her momentarily speechless. She understood that Mr. Jiang intended to send Jiang Mingcha away and revisit Qianxia's thoughts tonight. Though conflicted in her heart, seeing her sons all looking equally heavy-hearted, Mrs. Jiang ultimately gave up resisting. She gently squeezed Jiang Mingcha's hand with concern. "Get some rest. I need to discuss something with your father." At this point, Jiang Mingcha could only leave reluctantly. After leaving the Jiang family, Jiang Qianxia stared at the share transfer agreement, her mind swirling with thoughts. Even before meeting the Jiang family, she had vaguely sensed something unusual, because she couldn't clearly see Jiang Mingcha's facial features. So far, there are three people she cannot see through: Jiang Mingcha, the little cub, and Sitayu. As for the latter two, her intuition tells her something. After going through the book sent by Xianqing, Jiang Qianxia's speculation gradually became clearer. It is very likely that because she is skilled at calculating kinship, she cannot calculate her own kinship, and these two people might have a deep connection with her. In other words, she might fall in love with Sitayu. Jiang Qianxia had never been in a relationship in her previous life. Thinking of Sitayu's appearance, she surprisingly felt no aversion, but rather a bit of curiosity. If they truly fell in love, what would it be like? After all, if he remained cold and indifferent, she probably wouldn't agree to be together, right? As for the little one, there's no need to even mention it. If she and Sitayu truly fell in love, the little one would definitely be her biological son. Under this assumption, Jiang Mingcha, whose face cannot be clearly seen, appears particularly special. There could be no connection between her and Jiang Qianxia, so the issue must lie with her. After a visit to the Jiang family, Jiang Qianxia became even more certain of Jiang Mingcha's abnormality, including how the Jiang family's attitude toward the original host was also related to her. However, the Jiang family members might just be innocent pawns in Jiang Mingcha's hands. Jiang Qianxia did not feel they deserved forgiveness. Although she did not understand exactly how Jiang Mingcha manipulated things, she was certain that the poor relationship between the Jiang family and the original owner must have had a foundation. That foundation was their initial favoritism. Perhaps it wasn't much, but just that tiny seed, under Jiang Mingcha's various methods, completely drove the original owner out of the Jiang family. In the original owner's memory, every member of the Jiang family left her heartbroken. However, when Jiang Qianxia detached herself from the original owner's mindset and viewed things from an outsider's perspective, the emotions among the Jiang family members were actually quite decent. Perhaps, without Jiang Mingcha's interference, the relationship between the original owner and the Jiang family would have been entirely different. But now that things have come to this, there's nothing more to say. Jiang Qianxia's gaze returned to the shareholding contract in her hand, and suddenly a thought crossed her mind. To be honest, after swapping with the original owner, all she inherited was a mess. If possible, she would rather go back to reading Under the Tree of Life. So, the original owner probably wouldn't blame her for accepting the Jiang family shares and then selling them, right? Thinking of this, Jiang Qianxia felt a bit anxious. She had been delayed at the Jiang family for too long and was worried that Sitayu might have already gone to sleep. Fortunately, when she got home, she found that the father and son were still in the living room room watching TV, waiting for her. Moreover, they were watching business news. Does the little one understand any of this? For some reason, Jiang Qianxia noticed that the father and son seemed to have telepathy, simultaneously turning to look at her. For a moment, Jiang Qianxia truly had an illusion, as if the big one and the small one in front of her really formed a family of three. Her heart was struck by an unfamiliar tenderness, and she slightly opened her mouth, momentarily forgetting what she wanted to say. However, noticing that she seemed to be holding something in her hand, Sityu keenly perceived it and immediately lowered his head to say to the little one, "Alright, it's time for you to go to bed." Sityu Xiaoya pursed his lips slightly and nodded obediently. Before the nanny took him away, he couldn't help but carefully tug at Jiang Qianxia's hand. Jiang Qianxia gently stroked his soft hair and said softly, "Good night." Instantly, the little one revealed a pair of crescent-shaped eyes, leaving contentedly. After Sityu Xiaoya left, Jiang Qianxia saw Sityu naturally turn off the news that was playing and paused for a moment. "You weren't waiting for me, were you?" Sityu replied calmly. Xiaoya saw that you hadn't returned and was worried. As he spoke, he seemed to want to say something more, so he didn't keep her guessing. Actually, today's kindergarten assignment was to say to mom and dad, "I miss you." Sityu paused, then stood up and handed a card to Jiang Qianxia. Actually, it was saying "I love you" and "I miss you" to his parents. Considering Xiaoya's special situation, the teacher gave him two cards, one with "I love you" written on it and the other with "I miss you." Xiaoya gave the "I love you" card to him, with the crooked words "two dads" written on it. As for the card given to Jiang Qianxia, the crooked words "mom" were written on it. Suddenly, Jiang Qianxia understood why she received that message. Because you said you missed Xiaoya too, so Xiaoya wants to wait for you to come back before going to sleep. Sityu spoke, glancing at the time, his brow slightly furrowing. Jiang Qianxia's heart trembled, realizing that it was already past Xiaoya's usual bedtime. She thought of the other party's salary and immediately apologized. "Sorry, I'll come back earlier next time." Sityu was stunned, not expecting her to misunderstand his meaning, and remained silent for a few seconds. Tonight, he seemed a bit off. Normally, he never had such a strong desire to express himself, nor would he be willing to waste time. But perhaps it was because Xiaoyi handed over that card with great anticipation that he felt a hint of accomplishment in raising Xiaoyi. This sense of accomplishment was something he had never experienced before. At the same time, there was someone else who shared this sense of accomplishment, and that was Jiang Qianxia. But she misunderstood his meaning, which instantly made him feel a bit disappointed. He shook his head and said seriously, "You don't need to apologize. The agreement between us is not an employment relationship. You can do your own things." Sityu was not good at explaining. After speaking briefly and clearly, his gaze shifted to the document in Jiang Qianxia's hand. "Did you need something from me?" Jiang Qianxia was momentarily stunned, recalling Sityu's strange behavior today, especially his expression that seemed as if he'd been doused with cold water. She hadn't planned to bring it up today, but now he had hit the nail on the head. She nodded. "Yes, there's something I want to discuss with you. It won't take much time." Sityu nodded slightly. "Then let's go to the study." Jiang Qianxia followed Sityu toward his study. The study was neat and orderly, with bookshelves arranged with various books. Besides business and technology, there were also miscellaneous studies, geography, and even serious classic literature. Although she hadn't spent much time with him, Jiang Qianxia could guess that Sityu was definitely not a self-deceiving collector. He was entirely a practical type, and the books on the shelves must have all been read by him. Unexpected erudition, yet within reason. After all, the other party is the president who built a tech company from scratch, rivaling the Jiang family. Sityu's study is almost a forbidden zone, and he rarely visits it himself. Today, however, he was provoked by Jiang Qianxia's words. A wave of embarrassment surged in his heart. He didn't consider himself erudite, but books had indeed accompanied him throughout his childhood. This study was moved from the old house after his marriage, and most of the books on the shelves were ones he had read before the age of 18. With his excellent memory, he hardly ever needed to read them a second time. Unexpectedly, Jiang Qianxia could confidently look at this bookshelf and assert that he had read every single book. In that moment, it was as if he was transported back to his lonely childhood, overwhelmed by the feeling of being seen through by a woman at a glance. Clearly, he was the one who truly understood the other's inner thoughts. "Have a seat." Sityu cleared his throat lightly, trying to conceal his emotions. Jiang Qianxia didn't hold back. The speculation about returning home in her mind made her a bit more curious about Sityu. "Really, will I fall in love with this person?" Sityu's gaze trembled, staring at her in a daze. What did she say? However, Jiang Qianxia was only briefly curious before regaining her composure and pushing the share contract toward him. "I have some shares of the Jiang family. Are you interested?" Sityu's thoughts were pulled back to reality by her question, and his gaze once again locked onto her. He took the contract, secretly observing her, feeling even more confused. Originally, he thought the meaning of her words was, "That meaning, right?" But her eyes clearly told him that it absolutely wasn't. He has had no romantic experiences in the past 20-some years, but with his looks and family background, he is destined to be sought after. Whether for money, for him as a person, or both, he has seen plenty of eager gazes from women. In fact, the way Jiang Qianxia is looking at him right now seems even less eager than before. This is definitely not a gaze of admiration. A sudden inexplicable sense of loss filled his heart. After reading the contract, he asked in confusion, "You want to sell the Jiang family shares to me?" Jiang Qianxia was still struggling with how to bring it up, but she hadn't expected him to be so perceptive. She nodded. In fact, selling the shares to Sityu was a decision she had made after careful consideration. Jiang Mingcha is eyeing the Jiang Corporation covetously. If things go wrong, the Jiang Corporation's shares might depreciate before long. This sentence instantly made Sityu's gaze turn cold, and an indescribable fury surged in his heart. There was no reason to confirm that she wanted to date him but had no feelings for him, yet the sense of loss grew even stronger at this moment. He should be angry, but what he felt more was a fury with no outlet. He remained silent, at a loss for what to do. Jiang Qianxia saw him not speaking and sighed softly in her heart. Sigh, how should I put this? I don't have any evidence to prove that the Jiang family might go bankrupt soon. After all, that's not a certainty. Besides, he might not even want to acquire the Jiang family. Suddenly, Sitiyu's eyes lit up. He didn't even realize it himself, but the corners of his mouth lifted slightly as he cleared his throat. How much are you planning to sell it for? Jiang Qianxia's eyes lit up. Is there a chance? He kept a stern face and stayed silent for so long. I thought there was no chance. But as for the price, is it inappropriate to reveal the bottom line directly when negotiating with a business mogul? After some thought, Jiang Qianxia pretended to deliberate and asked, how much can you offer? She put on an act as if she were still considering other options, like a seller watching buyer's bid. Sitiyu couldn't help but chuckle inwardly at her bluffing demeanor. She was just so adorable. It was clear that she wasn't skilled at negotiating. Even if he couldn't hear her inner thoughts, he could see the unease in her eyes. If it were someone else, he might think she was a fool, but since it was her, it actually made him feel delighted. Thus, Sitiyu went along with the act. He deliberately offered a price lower than what she had expected. Sure enough, after hearing his offer, the woman's beautiful eyes widened in shock. How could you be so stingy? Jiang Qianxia was startled, and she forcibly swallowed the second half of her sentence. She looked at Sitiyu in disbelief. Who would have thought? This man with thick eyebrows and big eyes would turn into such a penny pincher when it comes to business. Sitiyu skinflint you. If time could turn back, he would definitely add another zero and speak even more harshly. The words had already been spoken, so he had to put on a brilliant performance. Thus, he took the opportunity to analyze the current predicament of the Jiang Corporation for Jiang Qianxia. The operational model of the Jiang Corporation is riddled with flaws. If any internal issues arise and the capital chain breaks, bankruptcy will be declared instantly. Therefore, although Situyu's initial intention was to fool Jiang Qianxia, his analysis turned out to be exceptionally serious. Especially, Jiang Qianxia had once mentioned the hidden concern of Jiang Corporation possibly going bankrupt. After careful analysis, he discovered that Jiang Corporation actually did not face a significant risk of bankruptcy unless there was an insider or malicious competition. However, upon hearing this, Jiang Qianxia's eyes instantly widened. Is this what a big shot is like? In fact, Sitiyu had long seen through her thoughts. It seemed that the Jiang family indeed had a traitor, and Jiang Qianxia appeared to be well aware of it but had no intention of telling her family. This does make things a bit more interesting. Jiang Qianxia silently lowered the price by one tier in her mind, but she still felt somewhat unwilling. Although, after analyzing it, this portion of shares has indeed depreciated. I can only buy it at a price below market value. The more I think about it, the more I feel like I'm at a loss. Her pained inner voice completely captured Situyu's attention. He didn't go into detail with her about the stop-loss principle of selling shares, let alone the premise for the shares depreciation. Buyers knowing the insider news that the Jiang family might be facing bankruptcy. He shifted slightly. However, I can offer double the price. In reality, even if the news of the Jiang family's potential bankruptcy was known, its value would vary for different people. If the Jiang family truly faces a bankruptcy crisis, some shareholders would have no choice but to sell off their shares to cut their losses, and as a shareholder, he has the right of first refusal. In other words, just as Jiang Qianxia had guessed, he could acquire the Jiang family business. Double the price? Jiang Qianxia's eyes instantly lit up like stars. But soon after, a trace of doubt appeared on her face as she fixed her gaze on Sitiyu. 3 times the price exceeded her expectations, bringing sheer delight. Sitiyu looked at her expression, both joyful and cautious, and couldn't help but recall a time when he encountered a little squirrel in the woods. Back then, he had brought a handful of pine nuts to feed it, and the squirrel's expression was identical to hers now. He lowered his head slightly, a faint smile curling at the corners of his mouth. I am a businessman. To be honest, if I had the chance to swallow Jiang Corporation, I wouldn't hesitate. My goal is the value of your shares. Jiang Qianxia's pupils contracted slightly. Situyu's heart tightened, seemingly regretting having said those words. It appeared she still had some feelings for the Jiang family. In fact, swallowing up the Jiang family wouldn't bring him much benefit. After all, the Jiang family was an established enterprise, and its industrial chain had almost no overlap with his tech company. However, just as he was about to change his words, a thought suddenly flashed through his mind. Awesome. If the Jiang family is bound to go bankrupt sooner or later, instead of letting the green tea take control, why not make use of the waste? Situyu's expression relaxed, and he couldn't help but carefully examine the woman in front of him. She never hid her inner thoughts, as if revealing many secrets to him. He suspected that she and the original Jiang Qianxia were not the same person at all. The original host, the antagonist. Among the information found online, there was only one fitting keyword: transmigration into a book. Although transmigration into a book sounded incredible, her sudden changes, the manifestation of her inner thoughts, and her seemingly fortune-telling ability all provided a reasonable explanation for this idea. So, what exactly is the purpose of her transmigration into the book? Logically speaking, Sitiyu is not someone who tolerates unstable factors, yet he inexplicably developed a strong curiosity about her. In fact, aside from transmigration, there is a more scientific explanation. She might have schizophrenia, but this still doesn't explain why he can hear her inner thoughts. From her lively inner thoughts, Sitiyu noticed that she seemed to possess the original owner's memories, which aligns with the symptoms of schizophrenia. So, for now, let's consider her as a new Jiang Qianxia, half a transmigrator, half a schizophrenic. After negotiating the price, Jiang Qianxia told Sitiyu about the shareholders meeting mentioned by her father. Sitiyu was silent for a few seconds. The price I promised you will remain valid permanently, but you might need to show up in person this month. Jiang Qianxia instinctively wanted to ask why. She just wanted to take the opportunity to accept the shares, but when she met Situyu's thoughtful gaze, she instantly understood. Oh, right. At first I suspected they wanted to use the shares to negotiate a collaboration with my convenient husband. The Jiang family doesn't know our marriage is fake, but the green tea ruined it, causing Father Jiang to miss his chance to speak, so I took the opportunity to sign. In this case, if my convenient husband shows up directly, won't he end up being tied down? Sitiyu struggled to suppress a smile, silently speculating how she signed her name, but his gaze turned gloomy at the mention of green tea. He had heard heard a little about the Jiang family's affairs. Before signing the fake marriage agreement, he had conducted an investigation and knew she had sufficient reasons to leave the Jiang family and nowhere else to go, which was why he ultimately agreed. If he guessed correctly, the green tea must be the fake daughter of the Jiang family. No matter how aloof he was, he could never escape the complex environment of wealthy families. The fake daughter, the real daughter falling into despair and leaving. Just a few words were enough to spark endless imagination. Sityu couldn't help but feel a mix of anger and pity in his heart, even though the woman sitting in front of him looked completely indifferent. Even if the one truly wronged might not actually be her. Jiang Qianxia inwardly found it troublesome but ultimately agreed that Sityu was right. She had to attend this month's shareholders meeting. Didn't Father Jiang already say that if something urgent came up, it could be postponed? In any case, postpone it first and deal with it later. Jiang Qianxia raised her head, then let's sign the contract in a month, so as to avoid unnecessary complications. She silently added in her heart, then noticed that the other party was looking at her with a somewhat peculiar expression. Frowning slightly, she saw the man cough awkwardly and stand up. Alright, let's leave it at that. Get some rest early. For some reason, Jiang Qianxia felt a hint of retreating in defeat from his departing figure. However, she couldn't figure it out. It didn't make sense. But since she couldn't figure it out, she decided not to dwell on it and got up. After washing up, she decided to strike while the iron was hot and try absorbing spiritual energy through meditation. Unexpectedly, this meditation caused her to sleep soundly until the next day. Sitting on the bed, Jiang Qianxia stretched lazily, surprised at how quickly time had passed. Logically, she should feel exhausted after staying up all night, but instead, she felt refreshed and full of energy. She prepared to go downstairs at the usual time, opened the door, and was met with a completely different Situ from what she was used to. He had just finished exercising, wearing a tank top that revealed his solid arms. The thin fabric of the top was slightly damp with sweat, faintly outlining his chest and abdominal muscles, exuding a strong aura of masculinity. As Jiang Qianxia pushed the door open, Situ happened to pass by, almost colliding with her. His first instinct, due to the sweat on his body, was to step back, but realizing it might not be appropriate and fearing Jiang Qianxia might fall, he quickly reached out his hand. Fortunately, Jiang Qianxia steadied herself. Her first reaction after regaining her balance was, wow, is this what they mean by slim in clothes, muscular without? Situyu's ears turned slightly red as he subtly flexed his muscles. A deep voice followed, sorry, it's a bit late today. Give me 5 minutes. Not sure if it's just an illusion, but why does his voice sound even better than usual? Jiang Qianxia couldn't help but think about the possibility of them falling in love. She raised her hand to pinch her ear, blinked, and murmured, oh, okay. Lost in thought, she didn't notice the man who brushed past her, his handsome face instantly tense, his ears turning bright red. Even as she descended the stairs, the man remained in place, gazing at her retreating figure. It wasn't until Jiang Qianxia's figure completely disappeared that Situyu took a deep breath and quickly returned to his room. After breakfast, Jiang Qianxia softened her heart and agreed to the little one's request to be taken to kindergarten. Seeing the little one's starry-eyed expression, she felt it was all worth it. Such a simple gesture could make the little one so happy, why not do it? The happiest moment was when she dropped the little one off at kindergarten and received a transfer of 100,000 yuan. Jiang Qianxia was stunned and immediately replied to Situyu with a question mark. After a few seconds, the other side responded, it was my oversight earlier. I forgot that taking Xiaoya to kindergarten is also a tiring task. Although Jiang Qianxia sent a question mark, her speed in accepting the money was astonishing, yet she said, not hard at all, but since you insist on giving it to me, I can't refuse. Thank you, Mr. Yu. Over there, Situyu seemed to guess that she was secretly overjoyed and couldn't help but smile, then said smoothly, I hope you can accept it, as I might need to trouble you in the future. No trouble at all, no trouble at all. After a round of business pleasantries, Jiang Qianxia happily kissed the balance. On the other side, assistant Chen Juanming's face twitched. Early this morning, he was summoned to the CEO's office. Generally, such early morning summons were preludes to scoldings. As he recalled his recent work, he braced himself for the reprimand. Unexpectedly, the CEO seriously inquired about the matter of that ring from last time. Chen Junming instantly tensed up. What's going on? Didn't he already lose his temper last time? Why is the anger back again? But he still didn't dare to hide anything and confessed honestly. After speaking, the cold and harsh words didn't come as expected. Instead, the iceberg-like CEO repeated the name of the ring and revealed a peculiar look of satisfaction. Then, Chen Junming heard the president slowly say in a daze, this month's bonus will be doubled. The extra amount will be my personal reward for you. Next, I have another task for you. After hearing that task, Chen Juanming's expression completely collapsed. His president must have been possessed by someone from another world, right? What's even stranger is that during the morning meeting, the president suddenly seemed to remember something, paused the meeting seriously, then took out his phone and sent a few messages on WeChat. The incident at the morning meeting quickly spread throughout the company, and many people came to Assistant General Manager Chen Junming to inquire whether the president was in a relationship and if the iron tree had finally bloomed. For a moment, the young colleagues in the company who had been secretly observing the president but dared not make a move were all wailing in despair. Chen Juanming's expression was peculiar. The president's contract marriage was a secret, and last time he accidentally chose the true love ring, almost getting exposed. Originally, he had already resolved to turn over a new leaf and start afresh. However, now his gossipy soul couldn't help but ignite. Could it be that because of the ring he chose back then, the president and that Miss Jiang ended up turning their fake relationship into a real one by accident? This guess made Chen Junming envision a future full of limitless possibilities for himself. He took a deep breath. If his guess was correct, the pause during the morning meeting was definitely spent chatting with that Miss Jiang. But no matter matter how much gossip burned within him, he could only officially warn his colleagues. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. As for him, Chen Junming, he was about to rush to the front lines of gossip and embrace his bright future. Meanwhile, Jiang Qianxia was lying in the villa, leisurely enjoying some freshly served gossip. This gossip started with Cha Cha Fang Xinfei, also known as that round-faced little girl, Xing Miao Miao. That day, after taking Jiang Qianxia to the interview, Jiang Qianxia told her about what she had seen between Xing Miao Miao's best friend and childhood sweetheart, leaving the choice to her. Perhaps because of her first experience, the young girl steeled herself and chose not to intervene. In the end, she personally caught the childhood sweetheart and best friend in the act. As they had speculated, Sha, the best friend, indeed used the excuse of failing the interview to invite Xingzhe out for drinks. And Xingzhe, feeling a bit frustrated after losing face because of Xing Miao Miao's uncle, found common ground with her, and the two started drinking. Of course, losing control due to alcohol was impossible, as Xingzhe's true feelings were for Xing Miao Miao, and he would never cross the line. However, he let his guard down around Sasha, and as a result, she drugged him. Xing Miao Miao secretly followed them the whole way, from drinking to getting drunk, and then to booking a room. Jiang Qianxia said this girl was ruthless because she was ruthless to herself. She deliberately waited downstairs at the hotel, crying for an hour to ensure everything inside was done, before calling both parents to go upstairs and catch them in the act. When Xing Miao Miao talked to Jiang Qianxia about this matter, her tone was already very calm, but Jiang Qianxia knew she must have been deeply hurt. Xing Miao Miao asked her, "Do you think I'm stupid?" Jiang Qianxia shook her head, "Not stupid. If you had stopped it, that would have been stupid. Sometimes, the bottom line isn't broken only when something substantial happens." Hearing this, Xing Miao Miao laughed. "Exactly, you understand me. Mom and Dad both call me stupid, but isn't Xingzhe just like Dad? My dad never allowed the nanny to cross boundaries, but Sasha's crossing the line was permitted by Xingzhe." Jiang Qianxia nodded. Then, Xing Miao Miao began to recount another matter. Regarding Jiang Qianxia mentioned earlier, Mimi T is actually Jiang Ming T. Because she was betrayed by her childhood friend, she decided to divert her attention and investigate thoroughly. As a result, it was confirmed that she was indeed deceived by her idol. Jiang Qianxia, one wound had not healed, yet a new pain was added. "I really don't know whether to call you silly or just silly." However, Xing Miao Miao didn't feel sad because of this and spoke with a much more mature tone. "I've decided to stop being a fan. Congratulations." Jiang Qianxia nodded and suddenly remembered something. She asked Xing Miao Miao about the details of her injured leg and was instantly left speechless. Xing Miao Miao actually received a peace amulet. It seems that Xing Miao Miao really took the disaster on her behalf. Seeing Jiang Qianxia silent, Xing Miao Miao thought of her abilities and felt a pang of anxiety. "No way. Is there something wrong with the peace amulet?" Jiang Qianxia nodded, her tone subtle. "Perhaps, without the peace amulet, there wouldn't have been a car accident." Xing Miao Miao's eyes instantly turned red as she angrily said, "I originally thought she was just using me, but I must have been blind." That day, a wealthy fan from Jiang Mingcha's fan club made a high-profile announcement of withdrawing her support, which quickly became a trending topic. It is said that Jiang Mingcha even pretended to be her own fan to manipulate the wealthy fan into spending money on her. In short, this idol, who had been silent for a long time, finally regained popularity but unexpectedly made a comeback in this manner. Moreover, the past scandals were not suppressed this time. Jiang Mingcha saw the trending topic and almost fainted from anger. She gritted her teeth and called the Jiang family's eldest brother, but the call was answered by the secretary. The secretary told her that President Jiang was in a very important meeting and couldn't step away. Jiang Mingcha looked at the backlash from the old scandals resurfacing due to the lack of suppression, almost furious enough to spit blood. She went to great lengths to use her identity to convince the secretary to mobilize the PR department, but it was already too late. Although the trending topic was removed, gossip related to the abbreviation JMC only grew, making it impossible to suppress unless the eldest brother of the Jiang family personally stepped in. Jiang Mingcha's scandal began to ferment, yet Jiang Minghui seemed indifferent to it. Her agent merely regarded it as a minor squabble between siblings and didn't take it to heart. After all, President Jiang doted on this younger sister. How could he possibly remain unmoved? "Then let's continue to let Jiang Qianxia take the blame," the agent suggested, completely unconcerned about Jiang Mingcha's withdrawal from Dear Brothers and Sisters. With just a little guidance, netizens would automatically fill in the blanks. The agent was about to take action but was stopped by Jiang Mingcha's cold expression. "No." Her voice was icy, like frost. The agent was taken aback. Although he knew Jiang Mingcha was not truly a delicate little flower, her somber demeanor still surprised him. "Mingcha, are you planning to look for your brother?" He let out a sigh of relief, seemingly thinking it was a good idea. Jiang Mingcha felt a wave of disappointment. This agent was mediocre in ability but adept at pandering, brimming with confidence thanks to Jiang Minghui's reputation. She understood that although her elder brother cared deeply for her, he was a man of strong principles. When it came to resource allocation, he would never give her everything, especially not those top-tier scripts. She reluctantly endured this useless agent. But now, at such a critical moment, he was actually relying on her. Jiang Mingcha couldn't help but feel displeased. She thought of Jiang Qianxia's agent, who, despite being in a small company, was exceptionally capable and could see things clearly at a glance. The surging thoughts in her heart made her want to change her strategy, but she restrained herself in front of her agent. She turned her head, her gaze growing increasingly impatient. "No, you go contact the variety show team. I want to participate, together with Jiang Mingxiu." The agent paused for a moment but then showed a delighted expression and hurriedly made a call. However, a few minutes later, his face turned grim. "What happened?" Jiang Mingcha frowned sharply, her heart tightening. The variety show side said, "The participants have already been decided, and Jiang Mingxiu has also confirmed his participation." The manager stammered. "What?" Jiang Mingcha stood up abruptly, incredulous. "Mingcha, how could your third brother team up with others to join a variety show? Could it be with a lineup like Jiang Qianxia's?" The manager looked puzzled. Suddenly recalling Jiang Mingxiu's doting on Jiang Mingcha, he couldn't help but laugh. "Well, this is perfect. He's definitely going to deal with that plastic surgery freak. We won't have to let her take the blame anymore, and instead Instead, we can market you as the nation's beloved little sister. Enough, Jiang Mingcha interrupted angrily, her face dark as water. She ruthlessly snatched the manager's phone and said coldly, leave. I want to talk to them alone. The manager quickly flattered her. Oh, okay. Though he was filled with anticipation and wanted to ask if she had other connections. Seeing Jiang Mingcha burning with anger, he refrained from asking further. As soon as he stepped out, Jiang Mingcha couldn't hold back anymore. She swept all the items off the table in a frenzy, screaming in despair until the table was completely empty. Gritting her teeth, she muttered angrily under her breath, Jiang Qianxia. After calming down, she took several deep breaths and picked up the phone. The screen of the manager's phone already had a crack, but it didn't hinder her from using it. She dialed the number from earlier. On the other side, Jiang Qianxia received a call from her agent, informing her that the variety show Dear Brothers and Sisters wanted to sign a long-term contract with her. She was momentarily stunned, as she had originally signed on for just one episode, and a surge of emotions welled up in her heart. Her fame was far inferior to Jiang Mingcha and Jiang Mingxiu. Although everyone had signed contracts, the agreements for a minor celebrity like her were entirely different from those of big stars. Her contract was based on a short-term renewal system. If the previous episode performed well, she could sign on for 2 or 3 more episodes. She had initially planned to participate in just one episode, mainly out of curiosity and dissatisfaction with Jiang Lucha. Out of the blue, the variety show wanted to sign a long-term contract with a minor celebrity like her. Wasn't this too unreasonable? Jiang Qianxia's doubts mirrored Sister Yan's concerns. Sister Yan was deeply worried, fearing that the variety show might assign her a sacrificial script. Apart from this reason, she couldn't think of any other explanation. Could it be that the show truly had a discerning eye and saw potential in Jiang Qianxia? Jiang Qianxia felt that Sister Yan's concerns were reasonable. After some consideration, she firmly rejected the long-term contract. Seeing her decisiveness, Sister Yan couldn't help but feel a bit regretful. Qianxia, have you thought it through? The contract doesn't specify that we need to cooperate with the script for now. How about taking another look? Jiang Qianxia shook her head. Sister Yan, have you forgotten that I also accepted a script? Although the director knows I signed with the variety show first, still, she didn't finish her sentence, but Sister Yan understood. However, since Jiang Qianxia hadn't acted much before, everything would be fine if it went smoothly, but if the filming didn't go well, time would become very tight. The purpose of joining variety shows was to build popularity and attract the attention of outstanding directors. Now that she already had the female lead in Jing Sun's project, was there still a need to worry about lacking fame? At that moment, Sister Yan also agreed with Jiang Qianxia's idea. You're right. Thus, she tactfully conveyed Jiang Qianxia's decision to the variety show team. The variety show team hadn't expected such an answer at all and was stunned. Even more shocked was Jiang Mingxiu. Upon learning that Jiang Qianxia had actually rejected the long-term contract, he practically shot up from his seat in astonishment. He abruptly stood up, intending to call Jiang Qianxia, but unexpectedly received a call from Jiang Mingcha first. Hearing Jiang Mingcha's voice, Jiang Mingxiu's expression froze slightly, seeming somewhat uneasy. Mingcha, is there something you need? His voice carried a hint of tension beneath its cold exterior. Jiang Mingxiu had a fiery personality, cold and ruthless to outsiders, yet passionate and intense within. Jiang Mingcha immediately noticed his unease, but she dared not casually inquire about what Jiang Qianxia had done to cause such a dramatic shift in the Jiang family. She didn't want to act rashly, yet she also wanted to maintain control of the situation. Third brother, I've thought about it. Actually, I was being too narrow-minded. I shouldn't be afraid of being laughed at and keep holding on to the identity of your sister, she said with a bitter smile. As expected, Jiang Mingxiu's expression softened considerably. After a moment of silence, he said firmly, Mingcha, how could you think that way? You will always be my sister. Hearing this, Jiang Mingcha felt a warmth in her heart, but she didn't feel as happy as she had expected. Taking a deep breath, she spoke with a hint of disappointment in her tone. Third brother, let's reveal the truth about our identities. I've reflected on it over the past few days. It's not Qianxia's fault for threatening us. It's me who insisted. Even if we go public, I'll still be your real sister, won't I? Her words were low and filled with helplessness. However, Jiang Mingxiu answered without hesitation, of course. Jiang Mingcha's expression froze instantly. He actually agreed to reveal his identity without the slightest hesitation. In the past, he would have absolutely opposed it because he knew what kind of storm of public opinion would follow, and he didn't want to see her get hurt. But now, he didn't hesitate at all. This meant he had already considered the matter of going public in his heart. Thinking about his decision to participate in the variety show, Jiang Mingcha's heart sank. Fortunately, she brought it up first. Jiang Mingxiu breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing her take the initiative to voice this idea. The heartfelt words he overheard at the Jiang family's old residence that day had made it difficult for him to face Mingcha. He didn't believe Mingcha would harm the Jiang family, but the overwhelming evidence inevitably planted seeds of doubt in his heart. Mingcha, what do you think? Jiang Mingxiu's voice lightened up. On the other end of the phone, Jiang Mingcha's heart tightened. She understood that this third brother of hers was somewhat brainless, an effective weapon when dealing with Jiang Qianxia, but unexpectedly ruthless when turned against her. She took a deep breath, forcing a gentle smile and softly said, why don't we go straight onto a variety show and give Qianxia a surprise? Otherwise, I'm afraid that when your and Qianxia's parentage is revealed publicly, I might be misunderstood by the fans. She casually mentioned being targeted today. Sure enough, Jiang Mingxiu completely let down his guard and frowned. What happened? Meanwhile, after rejecting the long-term variety show contract, Jiang Qianxia started a livestream. It seemed to be human nature's curiosity at work, as a large number of viewers immediately flooded in as soon as the stream began. As per usual, she planned to randomly select 2 viewers for a free fortune-telling session. This time, she opted for a more time-efficient approach. 3 questions per person, 2 small ones and 1 big one. The first 2 were to verify her skills, and the last one was the actual reading. Soon, her first viewer was selected. The name was Innocent College Guy, and as soon as the camera turned on, it revealed a young male viewer with a background that was clearly a student dormitory. He confirmed once more, so, I get to ask 2 questions to verify you, right? My first question is, what is my current identity? As soon as he finished finished speaking, the chat exploded. Innocent college guy. Pure male university. Pure male university. The young man froze, his eyes clear yet foolish, showing a look of shock and shyness. How do you guys know? Could it be that the streamer's fans can also tell fortunes? Jiang Qianxia helplessly reminded him, your background is too obvious, and your username. Pick another question. This one doesn't count. The boy, reminded, blushed to the tips of his ears, scratched his head awkwardly, and chuckled sheepishly. Sorry, everyone. It's my first time showing my face in front of so many people, a bit nervous. He thought for a moment and suddenly asked, how many of my roommates are single? Jiang Qianxia never expected to encounter such a technical question. If it had been 2 days ago, she really wouldn't have been able to tell, but now, she could, all thanks to the spiritual energy she had absorbed recently. Her fortune-telling talent seemed to have been enhanced. The most important source, however, was that rare and precious necklace. Jiang Qianxia restrained the excitement in her heart, carefully studied the boy for a moment, and then spoke. I'm sorry to say. Just hearing these 3 words, the boy's face lit up with husky-like excitement, a big smile about to bloom, but suddenly froze. The next sentence from the streamer dealt him a heavy blow. In your dorm, except for you, there are no single dogs. Pure-hearted college boy, live performance of instant emotional highs and lows. This acting completely crushes and outshines the Golden Bowl award-winning actor. Ha ha ha, brother, don't cry. The only single dog, feeling sorry for you for 3 seconds, bro. The innocent young man instantly transformed from a cheerful husky to a crying frog, asking the second question with a bitter face. Does my goddess have someone she likes? Jiang Qianxia nodded, yes. Immediately, the sorrow of the crying frog multiplied 100-fold, while the comment section burst into laughter. Brother, that's so tragic. But ha ha ha, sorry, your expression is just too funny. Don't cry, brother. What's the big deal? It's just that all your good buddies are in relationships, and your goddess has someone she likes. The crying frog actually shed a tear this time. Jiang Qianxia was amused by his dramatic expression and decided to give him a helping hand. Without waiting for him to ask, she directly said, don't worry, the person your goddess likes is you. The crying frog froze for a moment, then quickly reverted to his innocent boy next door look. Really? Jiang Qianxia nodded firmly. Really? The boy showed a look of surprise and disbelief, finally staring suspiciously at the mysterious black screen of the streamer and confirming, really? Jiang Qianxia said helplessly, really? If you don't believe me, try confessing now. Unexpectedly, the pure-hearted male college student, unable to resist provocation, actually took out his phone, preparing to confess live. Perhaps the boy in the video appeared too nervous, and the barrage of comments instantly fell silent. Everyone held their breath, waiting for the outcome of the call. As soon as the call connected, a sweet and captivating voice came through. Hello? Why are you suddenly calling? Is something wrong? The pure-hearted freshman hesitated for a moment, fearing that his confession might fail and they wouldn't even remain friends. However, with Jiang Qianxia's encouragement in his heart, he gritted his teeth and decided to give it a try. I have something I want to tell you. His face turned as red as a ripe apple, and his voice stuttered nervously. The person on the other end of the phone seemed to sense his nervousness. After a moment of silence, it sounded like they moved to a quieter place, took a deep breath, and said, go ahead. The innocent-looking young man turned red in the face, unable to utter a single word. The comments started urging him, coward. If you don't confess today, tomorrow the goddess will be someone else's girlfriend. Hee. I know who your goddess is. We're from the same school. Don't confess yet. Let me go first. The last comment stung the pure-hearted young man, causing his eyes to redden. He closed his eyes, as if summoning all his courage, and shouted, Su Jingwei, I like you. Will you be my girlfriend? The other end of the phone fell silent instantly. After a few seconds, despair gradually appeared on the young man's face. Just as he was about to force a smile, a gentle laugh came from the other end of the phone. Dummy, I've been waiting for you for so long. In an instant, the pure-hearted man burst into tears of joy, sobbing as he asked, you really agreed? Really? He pinched himself hard, confirmed it wasn't a dream, then covered the phone and shouted at the camera, Wangba duo yyds. I'll come back later to thank you. After speaking, he hurriedly put on his coat, quickly dropped a wave of gifts, and turned to rush out of the camera frame. Bullet comments. At this moment, Jiang Qianxia drew 2 more viewers. The latter 2 were not here specifically for this, so their issues were quickly resolved. Next comes the main topic. Jiang Qianxia's fortune-telling livestream was casual and unstructured, yet as she was pondering, a series of 3,000 yuan cosmic ships floated by. This precedent was set by Jing Miao Miao, so naturally, Jiang Qianxia dared not break it and decisively chose this wealthy viewer. However, when the camera turned on, the other side revealed only a head wrapped tightly. Not to mention the face, even the gender was indiscernible. They had even used a voice changer. The audience was completely baffled, and Jiang Qianxia was equally confused. What would you like me to calculate, dear viewer? The masked viewer coughed lightly and explained, sorry, I'm not very comfortable showing my face. I wanted to ask the host, it seems like you can read animals' facial features, right? Jiang Qianxia nodded, that's correct. Would you like me to take a look at your pet? The masked viewer quickly nodded, yes. Then where is the animal you want me to see? The masked audience member paused. Is a photo okay? This hesitant behavior made the other audience members a bit impatient, but considering that the person had paid to appear on camera, everyone held back their anger. Afterward, the masked audience member took out an exquisite photo frame from behind. In the photo is a little kitten, a calico, so beautiful it tugs at the heartstrings. Its 2 round, clear, innocent eyes evoke tenderness. In an instant, cat lovers among the audience grew anxious. Could it be lost? You despicable cat dealer. I recognized at a glance that this is my long-lost fur baby. Mommy misses you so much. I can only eat 3 meals a day because of it. Sob sob sob. Jiang Qianxia glanced at the photo and thought to herself that the cat probably wasn't lost, but, she said softly, your cat is pregnant. The live chat was stunned. How could such a small cat possibly be pregnant? However, the masked audience member was so excited that they were jumping up and down. Yes, you're really amazing. He let out a sigh of relief, then angrily continued, here's the thing. I'm usually very very busy with work, so I leave Lou, the cat at home. My parents live in a neighborhood where everyone gets along well, and they all feed cats and dogs. But as everyone knows, calico cats are the beauties of the feline world. So now my daughter has been knocked up by some random stray boy, and I don't even know who. Speaking, the masked audience grew angrier the more he thought about it, gritting his teeth and saying, I want the master to help me find out which rascal it is. As he spoke, he had already prepared and quickly took out several photos of male cats, showing them to Jiang Qianxia. These cats were not of the same kind. They were all photos shamelessly sent to him after others learned his daughter was pregnant. However, after Jiang Qianxia looked at the photos of the cats, she was instantly shocked, her eyes wide and mouth agape. She took out her phone and said to the masked audience, wait a moment, I need to check something. After checking, Jiang Qianxia's shock deepened even further. Her sharp intake of breath made the masked audience tense up. Master, what's wrong? Is it very serious? Jiang Qianxia took a deep breath and tried to use a calm voice to soothe this anxious old father. Take a deep breath first and find a quiet place to sit down. The masked audience followed suit. Jiang Qianxia reminded again, audience members, don't drink water either. Instantly, everyone's anticipation skyrocketed. Next, the streamer using Monkey King's voice started pointing at the photos. Take out the blue cat, tabby cat, and orange cat. The masked audience obediently followed the instructions. Then Jiang Qianxia told him, the kittens in your calico cat's belly are the offspring of these 3 cats. The masked audience was stunned. What? Jiang Qianxia tried to remain calm and told him what she had just discovered. When a female cat is in heat, she might mate with different male cats and then become pregnant with their kittens at the same time. Jiang Qianxia's words caused the masked audience's pupils to gradually tremble, followed by a bout of manually muted beatboxing. However, everyone can still see his mouth moving in the video. After finishing the box, he turned the microphone back on and said as calmly as possible, thanks for your hard work, streamer. Ha ha ha, this guy, although we can't see his eyes, I feel like I can sense his intense gaze. Learn something new. Cats are surprisingly wild and private. The old father was furious. Turns out it was 3 little rascals. Masked brother, look on the bright side, your daughter suddenly has 1 husband and 2 attendants. Haha. After calculating the masked audience, Jiang Qianxia also counted 2 viewers who had sent spaceships, then ended the broadcast. After several live streams, her thoughts became clearer. The value revealed in Jing Miao Miao made her realize that some people's desires are far more precious than money. She no longer relied on live streaming to build her reputation and decided to shift her target clients to the elite circles and the entertainment industry. These 2 places are the real gold mines for big deals. Of course, this is also related to her unexpectedly substantial wealth now. Who would want to toil away for a meager income? In any case, her mindset has relaxed considerably, especially since her relationship with Zai Zai seems to have developed quite differently from the original story. She is no longer in a hurry to leave the Sidhu family. After lunch, her leisurely afternoon was interrupted by a rather awkward phone call. It was from Old Master Chen. Previously, Old Master Chen had wanted her to accompany him to witness the paternity test and reunion with his daughter. However, Old Master Chen's daughter happens to be the original protagonist's adoptive mother. She wanted to politely decline, but Old Master Chen's tone left no room for negotiation. Seeing that he was about to set a time, Jiang Qianxia quickly interrupted. Actually, there's something I've never told you. It's not appropriate for me to go. The old Mr. Chen on the other end seemed to have been prepared and responded softly, girl, tell me about it. Whether it's suitable or not, let me judge for myself. Jiang Qianxia hadn't expected this old man to be so stubborn, but she couldn't bring herself to dislike him, even though he was Jiang Mingcha's biological grandfather. She took a deep breath. Actually, I am your daughter's adopted daughter, and we completely severed ties years ago. After speaking, she secretly anticipated the old man's questions. However, instead, she heard his cheerful voice. Haha, so that makes you my granddaughter then? Jiang Qianxia felt a pang of bitterness in her heart, suspecting that this was the lingering emotions of the original owner at play. She paused and explained again, you might not have heard clearly. I have already severed ties with your daughter. As she spoke, her eyes couldn't help but grow moist. Memories of the original owner surfaced in her mind. The reason the original owner arrived at the Jiang family dark-skinned and skinny was not because she had suffered greatly at home, but due to conflicts with her adoptive mother. In a fit of anger, the adoptive mother sent her to participate in a program for transformation. That program involved an exchange between city and rural children. City children were sent to the countryside, while rural children were sent to the city. The countryside she went to was scorching hot, and her sunscreen was confiscated, causing her to get sunburned and her body to weaken. After participating in the Bad Kids Rural Transformation program, the original owner did indeed change. However, she didn't transform from a bad kid into an obedient one. Instead, she began to doubt herself, even believing that the only person willing to protect her, her mother, no longer liked her. She lost the courage to argue with her adoptive mother, utterly exhausted, and only wanted to ask, am I really that bad? However, what awaited her was a cold, unfamiliar man standing in front of a luxury car, telling her about her true identity. The man claimed to be her biological father's secretary, there to take her home, and revealed that she was not the adoptive mother's child but had been switched with another family's baby. Her first instinct was to run back home, but before she could reach it, her adoptive mother stopped her. The adoptive mother told her to leave, expressing that she no longer wanted to worry about her and that she should return to her own family. On the way, she cautiously asked the secretary about the other girl. The secretary cast her a cold glance, and despite the disdain in his eyes, he still told her that girl must be the ideal obedient daughter in her mother's eyes. The original host resignedly followed the secretary back to that unfamiliar home. However, after returning to the new home, she discovered that the girl who was supposed to be returned to her mother was still here. So, what about her mother? Why wouldn't these people return her mother's obedient daughter to her? Thus, the original host began to ingratiate herself with this family, both wanting to fit into the only place she could stay and to drive Jiang Mingcha out, sending her back to her mother's side. But soon, she saw Jiang Mingcha's true colors. She regretted it and desperately ran back to her original home, only to be scolded and driven away by her foster mother time and time again. It was then she finally understood that Jiang Jiang Mingcha staying in the Jiang family was actually her foster mother's decision. Because staying in the Jiang family meant enjoying a good life, and her foster mother, having taken the money, didn't want either of the children. She didn't believe her foster mother was that kind of person. The money must have been taken by that terrible foster father. I promise you, I won't go see her again. Her voice carried a slight tremble. Get out. I've already been ruined like this by you. What difference would a divorce make? The foster mother responded coldly. Jiang Qianxia's heart felt like it was being torn apart, and tears unknowingly welled up, soaking her face. She suddenly realized that perhaps the original owner vaguely understood in her heart that the adoptive mother's cruelty was for her own good. But after the incident before the reunion, she began to doubt whether the adoptive mother truly regretted raising her as a daughter. Why did you send me for reformation? Doubt surged in her heart like a tide, impossible to calm. Jiang Qianxia struggled to pull her emotions away from the memories, her hand unconsciously stroking her chest, feeling waves of emptiness. How could I be so deeply affected by the original owner's emotions? She wondered in confusion. She was lost in her memories for too long and didn't notice that the old man on the other end of the phone was still quietly waiting. Sorry. She wiped away her tears, but her voice unexpectedly carried a sob. How could this happen? Jiang Qianxia muttered to herself in frustration, picked up her water glass, took a sip, and cleared her throat. What did you just say? The signal here isn't very good. Old Mr. Chen sensed her emotions and deliberately remained silent, allowing the child to reminisce. From the daughter's words, he discerned the importance this mother and daughter placed on each other, despite the many misunderstandings. With me here, I can definitely resolve the misunderstandings between you two, he thought resolutely. After pondering for a moment, he spoke into the phone. Child, let's make a deal. Jiang Qianxia paused slightly. Go ahead. I'll give Junya a multiple choice question later, with the options being you and that green tea girl. If Junya chooses you, you can come witness our family reunion. How about that? Jiang Qianxia vaguely guessed the old man's intentions, but she still hesitated in her heart. After all, she was no longer the person she used to be. Even if the misunderstanding was resolved, what meaning would it hold? However, she couldn't resist that curiosity, wanting to see if the regrets in the original owner's heart could be fulfilled. She recalled the old man's words and suddenly froze. Green tea girl? On the other end of the phone, old Master Chen spoke with full confidence. It's that Jiang green tea girl. Qianxia girl, I understand your hesitation. I've been searching for my daughter my whole life. Please take pity on this lonely old man and agree to help me just this once. At this point, Jiang Qianxia's heart wavered slightly, and she ultimately did not refuse again. However, she hesitated and said, Old Master Chen, that girl, feel free to make a request. Old Master Chen interrupted urgently, his face full of anticipation, thinking that if the little girl wanted that set of rare treasures, he would definitely agree. Unexpectedly, what Jiang Qianxia said was, her name is Jiang Mingcha, not Jiang Lucha. On the other end of the phone, the old master paused for a moment, then felt slightly awkward. He didn't want to reveal that he had heard Jiang Qianxia's inner thoughts. After all, he thought that the Jiang family's girl was really named Jiang Lucha. However, regarding Jiang Qianxia giving his granddaughter a nickname, he instead felt the name was brilliantly chosen. Although he was old, the old master's young apprentice loved surfing the internet, so he also knew the meaning of green tea online. That green tea wanted his rare treasure back then but only dared to secretly instigate Jiang Minghui to approach him, without even the sincerity to meet him in person. Isn't that the very definition of green tea? Sigh, why didn't he think of such a description back then? The old man sighed, feeling that as he aged, he indeed needed a little grandchild to keep him company. His eyes shifted, and he cleared his throat lightly, speaking nonchalantly. No matter what kind of tea, our agreement is settled. Wait a moment, Junya is here. Don't say anything yet, just listen. Jiang Qianxia didn't expect the old man to act so quickly. Upon hearing the sound of his door opening, she immediately dared not make a sound. Then, Jiang Qianxia heard the old man sigh deeply and say earnestly, Junya, although we haven't done the test yet, you are probably my daughter. Now, this old man has encountered a problem and wants to ask for your advice. Lin Junya was stunned. She had a gentle personality and usually lacked strong opinions, so it was rare for anyone to ask her for advice. She wanted to refuse, but when she met the old man's weathered yet hopeful eyes, she couldn't bring herself to say no. Well, please tell me, but my advice might not be very good. Seeing her agree, the old man immediately burst into hearty laughter, secretly noting his daughter's timid demeanor in his heart. He patted her shoulder and comforted her. Don't worry, it'll definitely be great. He took a deep breath and brought out a box from behind him. It was the rare treasure that had captivated Jiang Qianxia. Although Lin Junya hadn't seen much of the world, she could instantly tell how expensive this set of jewelry was. Her expression changed drastically, and she quickly waved her hands. Clearly, she thought the old man was going to give her this set of jewelry. Don't worry, this isn't for you, the old man reassured her at the right moment. Lin Junya had just breathed a sigh of relief when the old man added, of course, what I give you definitely won't be worse than this. Lin Junya was startled again and wanted to refuse, but the old man seemed to have no other suitable options. Seeing his daughter's discomfort, the old man's eyes grew slightly moist. He took a deep breath, suppressed a sigh, and got back to the main topic. The thing is, this set of jewelry is the masterpiece of my life. Many people want to buy it, but I have always been looking for the right owner for it. Listening to the old man's words, Jiang Qianxia on the other end of the phone was stunned, her heart racing. Could it be referring to that rare treasure? Based on what the old man just said, could it be he intends to sell the jewel to either herself or Jiang Mingcha? Jiang Qianxia held her breath nervously, staring intently at her phone. After careful selection, I have now found two suitable owners. This decision has left me very conflicted, so I want to hear your opinion. Lin Junya listened attentively and hesitated, but I don't really understand. No, you do understand, because these two candidates are your daughters. Lin Junya was interrupted by Mr. Chen's words and froze. What? Seeing her shocked expression, Mr. Chen couldn't help but repeat, it's the two children currently in the Jiang family. They both want the set of jewelry. Logically, as their grandfather, it would be fitting for me to give my proud creation to my granddaughters. But now there's only one set of my proud creation, and both children want it. What do you think should be done? Lin Junya froze, her eyes wide open in shock. How could this happen? She remained silent silent for a long while, as if something was stuck in her throat. On the other end of the phone, Jiang Qianxia lowered her eyelids slightly, her heart a mix of emotions. Then, give it to Qianxia. Lin Junia's voice was soft yet firm, like a sharp blade cutting through the silence. For some reason, Jiang Qianxia's eyes instantly stung, and tears streamed uncontrollably. She silently covered her mouth, afraid to make a sound. Qianxia is your adopted daughter, right? Mingcha is your biological daughter. Are you sure you want to give it to Qianxia? If you've made up your mind, I'll decide accordingly, the old man asked slowly, his tone carrying a hint of caution. Lin Junia's eyes revealed a trace of complexity, her previously calm demeanor now turning moist. Although the old man was her close relative, he still felt somewhat unfamiliar. She awkwardly wiped her tears and then firmly nodded. She pondered for a moment, trying to steady her voice. If you are willing to hear my opinion, then I ask you to choose Qianxia. It is me who has wronged that child. Before the words had even faded, Lin Junia's eyes turned completely red, her emotions nearly collapsing. Old Mr. Chen looked at his daughter in such a pitiful state, his heart filled with mixed emotions, regret, guilt, sorrow, and anger toward the Jiang family and his daughter's terrible husband. But the person he hated most was himself, for not finding his daughter sooner. The old man tentatively reached out his hand, and seeing his daughter did not resist, he gently pulled her into his arms. 49 years had passed. The last time he held his daughter, she was not yet 3 years old. Now, not only had his daughter grown up, but even her own daughter had grown up. Old Mr. Chen unconsciously recalled the warmth of holding his daughter, his gaze revealing both affection and authority. You are my one and only precious daughter. Of course, what you say counts. The old man's eyes revealed a trace of nostalgia as he slowly said, Dad once told you that you are his only treasure. Although you may not remember, ever since your mother and I divorced, I have never had any other children. Over the years, all my struggles and efforts have been to give my precious daughter a strong support. So, clumsily, he wiped away his daughter's tears with his hand and gently comforted her. Don't cry. From now on, Dad will make sure you can do whatever you want, say whatever you want, and never have to endure anything again. It's just that Dad came a little late. Facing the old man's seemingly all-knowing gaze, Lin Junia could no longer hold back and burst into tears. This was the first time since she was 3 years old that she cried so unrestrainedly, as if pouring out all the sorrow and bitterness of her life. Back then, the old man and his ex-wife registered their marriage abroad. Their youthful impulsiveness led them to quickly step into matrimony. However, as time passed, irreconcilable differences in their artistic philosophies gradually emerged. Every little thing could spark an argument, and eventually, they reached the point of divorce. Abroad, when couples divorce, children are usually awarded to the mother, and he naturally accepted the outcome without complaint. Although his feelings for his ex-wife had been worn away by arguments, his love for his daughter only grew stronger. However, his ex-wife, harboring resentment, disappeared without a trace with their daughter while he was preparing for a competition. He searched tirelessly but to no avail. The old man initially believed that his ex-wife, being so talented, would eventually be found. Yet, to his surprise, she vanished from the design world as well. He speculated that she might have changed her identity and even investigated several emerging designers with similar styles, but still found no clues. Until one day, he received the devastating news that his ex-wife had died in an accident. Overwhelmed with grief, he learned that his daughter had been with her, but she was not present at the time. The lack of information caused him to lose track of his daughter's whereabouts, knowing only that she was somewhere in the country. This prompted him to return to his homeland and accept the invitation from Jiang Minghui's biological mother. If not for his unwavering obsession with his daughter, the old man felt he might not have achieved his current success. His dream of excelling in jewelry design had long been realized, and his only wish now was to find his daughter and become her pillar of support. After 49 years of searching, finally, he got his wish. And Lin Junia? This cry was the outpouring of all her grievances, behind which lay a life full of unspeakable twists and turns. In the cloudy eyes of old Master Chen, a resolute light flickered. This was a father, determined to protect his daughter's happiness. He could not change the past, but in the future, he would never let his daughter suffer even the slightest grievance. On the other end of the phone, Jiang Qianxia, after gradually calming her emotions, heard Lin Junia sobbing and froze. A pang of bitterness struck her chest, and her eyes revealed a look of confusion. Why did her heart ache so much? She was not the original owner, so why did she feel sorrow for the original owner's adoptive mother? Was it because of the residual emotions of the original owner? Neither person on the phone noticed how the call ended. The old master, feeling his daughter's pain, could not bear to upset her further, so he decided to cancel the previous arrangement with Jiang Qianxia. Although Jiang Qianxia felt a strange sense of loss in her heart, she accepted it calmly. However, the old man made another request. I want to ask you to accompany me to investigate Junia's past. Would you be willing to go on this journey with this old man? Jiang Qianxia was stunned. After a brief silence, she found herself unable to speak. The last time she saw Lin Junia, she had already learned about her past, but this time, she wanted to see it with her own eyes. After some hesitation, she nodded and said, all right. The old man nodded in satisfaction, repeatedly saying, good, good, good. Then I'll go make the arrangements. The old man asked Jiang Qianxia for her work schedule and decided to set off when she was free. Jiang Qianxia didn't pay much attention to her current work in the entertainment industry. For her, apart from the drama she personally accepted, everything else could be postponed. She simply listened quietly to the old man's arrangements. In fact, before seeking out Jiang Qianxia, the old man had a similar conversation with Lin Junia. He subtly revealed some secrets about the power struggles within wealthy families. Seeing the worry on her face, he began to ask whether she wanted to know about Jiang Qianxia's situation within the wealthy circle. Lin Junia both wanted to hear and was afraid to listen. In the end, she shook her head and said, that child has a stubborn personality, but she's not someone who easily suffers losses. She must be living well with her biological parents. As she spoke, her mind involuntarily drifted to that scoundrel, and a look of inferiority and shame appeared on her face. The old man asked with a faint smile, what if I want you to get a divorce? Would you agree? Lin Junia was momentarily stunned, seemingly unable to believe it, yet somewhat tempted. Ultimately, she met her father's tolerant and loving gaze but hesitated. Some unpleasant memories flashed through her mind, and her lips trembled slightly. Better not. Lin Junia lowered her head. That scoundrel was truly difficult to deal with. She didn't dare to reveal even the slightest detail about her meeting with old Master Chen to her family, as she feared that the scoundrel would target her father if he found out. Old Master Chen, who was already aware of his daughter's predicament, felt a pang in his heart, and a trace of ruthlessness flashed in his eyes. But in front of his daughter, he only wanted to play the role of a loving father. Smiling, he looked at his timid and self-conscious daughter and said slowly, "Do you perhaps not know enough about your father's wealth?" Old Master Chen's words left Lin Junia somewhat confused. She blinked. She knew that old Master Chen was a skilled jewelry designer, and judging by the luxury car he arrived in during their meeting, he should be quite wealthy. However, the old man's words now made her gradually realize that she seemed to have underestimated something. Seeing his daughter finally react, old Master Chen felt a surge of pride and briefly described his achievements and wealth. "Now, do you still want a divorce?" he asked again. "And, do you want to know what Qianxiao's life is like now? What about Qianxiao's current life?" Lin Junia was stunned, her father's deep gaze making it impossible for her to comfort herself any longer. Of course, she was worried, but how could she have dared to let that child have any connection with the Lin family, full of rotten people? When the two children were switched back then, the Jiang family sent someone to investigate the Lin family. That elite secretary coldly exposed the Lin family's ugly secrets in front of her, speaking in an icy tone. "I believe Mrs. Lin understands that, for the sake of the two children's future, it's best they have no ties to a family like the Lin family, right?" At that moment, Lin Junia was so ashamed that she wished she could disappear. She had tried her best but still couldn't protect Qianxia properly. How could she dare to go against the wishes of the Jiang family? She didn't want to upset the Jiang family, nor did she want Qianxia's living environment within the Jiang family to be affected. She even only cast a distant glance at Jiang Mingcha. This child, her own flesh and blood, was meticulously cared for by the Jiang family, delicate and beautiful, appearing completely out of place with the Lin family. By chance, their eyes met, and she knew Jiang Mingcha had recognized her. But Jiang Mingcha, with a panicked and pale face, quickly ran away. Lin Junia's heart sank, realizing that the Jiang family did not blame her for the matter concerning their biological daughter. Therefore, she also understood why Jiang Mingcha was unwilling to return to this dysfunctional family. Since the Jiang family could pamper their adopted daughter so much, they certainly wouldn't treat their biological daughter poorly. As a result, Lin Junia chose to let herself go and pretended to forget that she had two daughters. In this hellish life, being able to escape even once is good. At this moment, Lin Junia slowly opened her eyes. She was not foolish. Her father repeatedly mentioned Qianxia and Mingcha's matters, specifically asking whether she cared about Qianxia's life. There must be something going on for her father to ask such questions, and just now the old man even made her choose one out of the two sisters. Lin Junia felt a faint worry in her heart. Is it that the two children don't get along in the Jiang family? Although Qianxia has a stubborn personality, she responds better to kindness than to force. I've met Mingcha. The two children should be able to get along well. As she spoke, Lin Junia's brows furrowed tightly, her anxiety almost visible. Could it be that the Jiang family is treating Qianxia poorly? Seeing that her eyes were full of concern for the adopted daughter, the old man felt a sense of relief in his heart. The daughter is unaware of the discord between the two children. If she truly knew the truth, she wouldn't be able to let go of either and would be caught in a dilemma. The old man doesn't know what to do either. The daughter has suffered so much, and he doesn't want her to endure any more troubles. But deep down, he doesn't particularly like that girl from the T family. Now his dislike for the T girl has grown even stronger. Although they haven't interacted for long, he has already noticed that his daughter has a gentle yet extremely kind personality. In his view, if one only focuses on a single girl with a clear conscience, there must be favoritism. For example, the Jiang family. But the daughter is different. Perhaps something happened between her and that T girl. The old man narrowed his eyes slightly and did not question his daughter but instead looked at her again. If your daughter is not doing well in the Jiang family, I can give you the confidence to bring her back. Would you want that? The old man did not directly answer her question but responded with a question of his own. Lin Junia's heart sank. She seemed to want to say something but hesitated. Cautiously, she asked, "Which one is it? Does it make a difference which one?" The old man had a rough idea in his heart but still pretended not to understand as he asked. Lin Junia's thoughts were simple. Facing her father's concern, she admitted frankly, Mingcha doesn't really want to acknowledge me. If she's not doing well in the Jiang family, she might not want to come back either. The old man lowered his head, gazing into his daughter's deep eyes, and softly asked, "Do you want Dad to help her out?" Lin Junia's mind conjured up a memory so distant it felt like an illusion. Perhaps it was when she was 2 or 3 years old, sulking with her head down, and a man as towering as a mountain deliberately lowered his head to meet her gaze, trying to make her laugh. But that scene was too beautiful, as if it were an illusion. She had never dared to imagine it was real. Now, she began to believe. Perhaps, deep in the recesses of her childhood memories, this moment truly existed. Seeing her in a daze, the old man patiently waited. Lin Junia slightly uncomfortably raised her head and shook it. No need. If she isn't doing well and comes back to find me, I will do my best to help her. But if she never returns, then it means the bond has ended. The old man's lips couldn't help but curve into a slight smile. His daughter, in her very nature, actually inherited his character. He had originally thought that with such a gentle personality, his daughter wouldn't be able to let go. What if it's Qianxia then? The old man asked, his tone carrying a deeper meaning. Lin Junia's gaze trembled slightly, unwilling to imagine such a possibility. How could that be? Those are her biological parents. That child has suffered so much. As parents they would only feel heartache for her. How could they bear to mistreat her? Her voice carried a trace of determination, yet faintly revealed unease. The old man shook his head, his eyes filled with helplessness. Some wealthy families don't place much importance on blood ties. They value upbringing, ability, and years of cultivation more. Lin Junia's face gradually turned pale, her heart wrenching in pain. Seeing this, the old man stopped speaking and gently stroked his daughter's hair. So, are you willing to come home with me and personally stand up for Qianxia? Lin Junia's bloodless face instantly froze. Although the old man's words had already indicated the Jiang family's unfavorable unfavorable attitude toward Qianxia, she still harbored a sliver of hope in her heart. How could the Jiang family, who valued Qianxia so much, treat her poorly? Tears welled up in her eyes. She nodded, her voice weak but resolute. I'll go back. After agreeing, her expression initially showed hesitation again. However, thinking of her daughter, she finally made up her mind. She would completely break away from the Lin family and become a strong support for her daughter. Seeing his daughter finally firm in her resolve, old Master Chen's face revealed a gratified smile. It wasn't difficult to have his daughter leave the Lin family, but the most important thing was for her to stand confidently on her own. After all, as he grew older, he wanted to protect his daughter but could only do so much. This is wonderful. Old Master Chen held onto his cane, his steps noticeably lighter. Then let's go for the appraisal now. Although the result is almost certain, I know you'll still feel uneasy until you see it, the old master suggested. Lin Junya nodded slightly, her heart stirred. Suddenly, she thought of something and hurriedly stopped the old master. Wait a moment, you know Qianxia, right? She asked somewhat hesitantly but still spoke up. The old man's eyes sparkled with amusement. Yes, do you want her to come over and witness our appraisal? I'll call her right now. As soon as the old man finished speaking, Lin Junya immediately waved her hands in a panic, her face full of rejection. No need. The old man had intended to tease his daughter, but seeing her so self-conscious, he couldn't help but feel a pang of pain in his heart. He turned and stepped out, secretly pondering how to help his daughter regain her confidence. On the other side, Jiang Qianxia hung up the phone, her heart in turmoil. The original owner's memory surged like a tide, leaving her unable to calm down. This feeling was truly unsettling. She frowned slightly, pondering. Perhaps it was because the complete 24 years of the original owner's memories were churning in her mind, while her own life had only started. At 18, she herself had only been 24 years old. These 24 years of memories were evidently much longer than her actual 6 years of life, thus having a profound impact on her. When another set of memories outweighs her own, who is she really? Jiang Qianxia? What's more, all her emotions were inherited from this world's Jiang Qianxia. This thought stirred a wave of panic in her heart. She desperately needed to prove that she was the Jiang Qianxia from that world, not the Jiang Qianxia of this world. The difference between them lies in. Jiang Qianxia quickly walked upstairs, startling the passing servants. After returning to her room, she found a book titled Basics of Fortune Telling among the ones sent by Shanqing. She anxiously flipped through it from beginning to end but found no mention of a fate-related talent similar to hers. Her heart calmed down slightly. Looking again at the fortune-telling techniques of this world, even those with talent mostly require mystical arts as assistants. Moreover, those born with such skills are often physically impaired. Their eyes, used to see fate, naturally cannot see the world. This makes most of the great fortune-tellers in this world blind. Jiang Qianxia finished reading the fortune-telling book and picked up another one. This book was a miscellaneous collection from the metaphysics world, recording many practical little spells, including the object-finding spell that Xianqing had taught during the livestream last time. She enthusiastically learned 2 small spells and then suddenly had an idea, deciding to test them out. After changing her clothes, she went downstairs. After the dramatic changes of the past few days, the maids in the villa had become exceptionally well-behaved. Seeing her come downstairs, they hurriedly prepared to call the driver. Jiang Qianxia stopped them, and the maids stared at her in astonishment as she confidently walked out on foot. The destination wasn't far, a small forest within the villa complex. There were few people there, so there should be birds. Sure enough, before Jiang Qianxia even approached the small grove, she heard the chirping of birds. The first spell she had learned was communicating with animals. Although it didn't allow true communication, it enabled her to temporarily borrow the 5 senses of animals. The second was an advanced version of the object-finding spell, person finding. While its range was much greater than the object-finding spell, it could only locate a general direction. Jiang Qianxia felt a surge of excitement, thinking that her talent might not be limited to fortune-telling. Perhaps she truly was a metaphysical prodigy in this world. She decided to test it out. She tilted her head to look for the birds in the trees and tried the first spell. The result was even more successful than she had anticipated. A bird chirped crisply twice, then flew to her side, circling around her. She felt the light and cheerful connection with the little bird. Although they couldn't truly communicate, she knew the bird could understand her intentions. Then, she began to attempt the second spell. She tried to share her spell with the bird, wanting to see if it could use the tracking spell through their mental connection. The tracking spell also required an item carrying the aura of the person being sought. Jiang Qianxia brought out 2 books. One was a children's book belonging to Xiao Zai, and the other was a book belonging to Situyu. She first handed Xiao Zai's book to the bird. The bird hopped lightly on the book after approaching it, then flapped its wings and flew off in a certain direction. Her eyes lit up instantly. That direction is exactly where the kindergarten is. It worked. The joy in Jiang Qianxia's eyes was hard to conceal. The connection between her and the little bird made it very affectionate toward her. It flew toward the target, stopping occasionally to wait for her. She seemed to feel the bird's affection for her and couldn't help but laugh.